right? So we have a lot to discuss. We're going to go through, I do have a visual presentation. I am going to share my screen. If someone will do me a favor and put a 2 in the chat if you can see my screen. I just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. So I do have a visual presentation. We are going to go through today really quick. Going to give you a lot of information, and then at the end, I always do leave time for questions. So as you go through this, if you have questions, if something doesn't make sense, just do me a favor, write it down, and I will give you time at the end to cover everything that we discussed today. Now, leading off of what Christina said, right? The banks are leveraging other people's money to go and purchase assets in their best interest, right? So we are just going to start to think like a bank. Now, everything I'm going to teach you today is at a very, very high level of business funding. This is the Business Funding Masterclass. This is trusted by bankers. This blueprint, this process is trusted by bankers and ultimately built for founders, right? Now, as a disclaimer, there is a lot of great information that I'm going to give you, right? And all of it is very valuable information and very applicable information. The difference is, and I just have a disclaimer, is that this information is not a advice to your specific situation. I'm going to show you very generally how to position yourself, but everybody's starting point in this funding journey is a little bit different than the next person, right? So I do just have a very basic disclaimer. This presentation is for general educational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or professional advice for your specific situation, right? So always contact and always consult a professional. While the results are never guaranteed, the funding is never a guaranteed process, but I'm going to show you the strategies to show you how to position yourself with the highest probability of an approval, right? Because something, and I'm going to cover this a little bit or a lot as we go through this, is a lot of people think that funding is just submitting an application. I'm going to tell you that is false. All of the work to position yourself for funding or to access capital is done prior to ever submitting the application, right? So I'm going to show you how to actually position yourself. Now, funding has become a very, very, very popular topic. I have been in this industry full-time since 2017. I've dealt with personal credit, business credit, corporate credit, and financing for a multitude of projects across a multitude of industries. Now, my job today is to take a very, very complicated, complex topic and make it as simple and digestible as possible. So before we begin, I do want you to understand a couple things. If this feels overwhelming, if you have no idea what credit or funding or how to access capital is right now, that is perfectly okay, because by the end of this, you're going to understand a lot, because we're going to give you clear and simple actions to understand where you are and ultimately your first step to get funded. Number 2, you don't have to be an expert. I promise you, just follow the process and the blueprint that I am laying out today, and you will position yourself in a great position. And we are going to give you real examples and information that you can apply immediately. This is not necessarily an education masterclass. This is an implementation masterclass. Everything that I give you today, I want you to immediately apply to what you have going on, right? Now, a little bit about who I am. Just in case you may not know me as of yet, my name is Mr. Dorsey. You can find me on all platforms at CEO Dorsey, right? Now, just a little bit of insight to who I am, just in case. I am a credit and funding expert. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2017, and I specialize in creating tailored funding strategies and solutions for entrepreneurs and businesses. Now, key word here is tailored. We have done thousands of funding deals. We've serviced a lot of clients. We have funded over $100 million, just like Christina said, since our inception in 2017. Now, understand the reason we say tailored is because out of all the clients we've served, out of all the funding strategies and all the funding deals we've done, none of them have ever been the exact same, right? So it has to be, again, tailored to your specific situation. I am a business growth specialist. I manage a 7-figure consultancy where ultimately we specialize in in ultimately streamlining the funding process and asset acquisition. And to get deals done, we work with traditional banks, we work with private money lenders, we work with revenue-based lenders, right? There is a lot of different strategies that go on, and I am a strategic negotiator with banks, investors, and lenders alike, right? So that just gives you a short introduction to who I am. Now we're going to ultimately get into why you are here. Now, I want to clarify here. This is business funding, and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to break this down a little bit as we go through this process. But something very important to understand ahead of time is this is a trust class. I completely understand it. Right now, from my personal opinion, the way that I interpret what Christina teaches is establishing private trust, right? So my intention when I teach is to keep the trust private and to leverage public entities like LLCs and corporations that operate in the best interest of the trust, right? Now, we'll go over that a couple times. Now, more importantly is why business funding. I hear this a lot of times, right? And the number one thing that I want to talk about here is that smart founders, strategic founders, do not wait until they need the money. They want to position themselves ahead of time so that when they need access to the capital, they can. Right now, there's a couple reasons why we use business funding. Number one, leverage to grow faster. When you access capital, you can use that capital in the best interest to grow the business, right? So you can invest into marketing, you can invest into systems, you can invest into staffing that actually comes on and actually helps you grow your business, right? So that's number one, to grow faster. Number two is acquiring assets. Everything that we do or everything that I teach you is with the intention to create leverage to purchase assets to increase cash flow, right? Assets can range anywhere from, just an example, real estate, equipment, or a lot of what we teach is also buying other business entities or doing acquisitions as well. Now, another very valuable thing is investing in yourself. You're a part of this mastermind. You are a part of this community. Congratulations. You have invested into yourself. Access to capital gives you the ability to enhance that, right? So you can invest into education, you can invest into masterminds, and you can invest into mentorships that actually help you sharpen your skills. And ultimately, why do we look for funding? Is because, like we talk about, we want to leverage OPM, which is other people's money. We want to be able to, even if we have the cash, we ideally want to be able to protect our cash by leveraging other people's money, right? So you can scale without draining your savings or maxing out your personal credit cards, which is what I see the problem with a lot of business owners before they get this information, right? Now, the problem that we've identified is that when it comes to funding, most business owners get denied, and it's not because they're underqualified. A lot of them are great business, well-established business, but they don't necessarily understand how banks think. And I want you to understand that banks and lenders are in the business of lending money. That is how their business operates. However, we have to know how they think in order to position ourselves for the money that they are lending out, right? So the problem that we see with most business owners is that they apply randomly without a strategy. You're going to learn this as we go through this whole process. Funding is very, very, very strategic. Everything has to be very intentional, and the slightest misstep could be the difference in accessing capital for, you know, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, and putting yourself in a position where you're not able to access anything, and you may delay that process, right? So you have to understand this process is very strategic. The next thing is that a lot of times, very basic information like their personal information could be their address or a spelling of their name doesn't match across all of the public records, right? And so we want to make sure that that information aligns. The other thing is that a lot of people have a business established. They've gone to set up an LLC. They've gone to set up a corporation. But just because a business is established and created does not mean that it's structured properly. So we have to understand how to actually structure the business. The other thing is that when it comes to banks, understand there are thousands of banks in the United States alone. Most people generally are only familiar with about 5 to 10 banks, right? From all of these banks, They all underwrite differently. They all qualify applicants differently. They all operate completely differently, right? And it's very important because different banks are great for certain things or certain applicants, right? So you have to know which banks to approach and when based on your particular scenario and ultimately location as well too. And then the other thing is that when you're applying without strategy or when you're just trying to figure out how to get access to funding, a lot of times the problem is that people burn inquiries and ultimately get denied over and over again without really understanding what's going on behind the scenes. Now, the solution is teaching you how to think like a bank, right? So understand banks fund predictability, not potential. A lot of banks have potential, right? But not, or sorry, a lot of businesses have potential, but not necessarily every business is structured to be predictable, right? So you have to understand how to make your file look organized, how to manage um or or how to keep your history clean, and how to actually structure your business properly. Because when you do that and you position yourself before the application, then that makes that process a lot more predictable. So what do we mean by clean history? Clean history is on-time payment. So a lot of the foundation of this, and even when we're talking about business funding, is that you have to start to build business credit. But if your business doesn't necessarily have strong enough credit yet, then the foundation to business funding is going to be making sure that your personal credit is aligned, right? So both of these relationships together, you have to understand both of these depending on where you're at, because most people generally do not have strong enough business credit yet, right? So they have to establish it. You have to establish that by building a history. Banks, again, lend on predictability. So they want to see on-time payments, and they also want to see low card balances. They want to see good money management. Now, when it comes to consistent information, your name and address has to match on your credit reports and on public records. And a lot of times that information is mismatched, right? So you may have a current address on your reports, but then on public record or another report, it may have a previous address, right? And banks are always, you have to understand, banks are always fighting fraud. And because banks are always fighting fraud, we also have to understand that banking is computers. So if our information isn't aligned and 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, right, and it doesn't match, then it's going to throw a red flag. Again, a lot of businesses get denied not because they didn't qualify. A lot of times it's just a verification issue or a structure issue, right? So you want to make sure that your information aligns everywhere so that you can be easily identifiable. Now, the next thing is a real business. Just because you went to this, you went to the Secretary of State, you've got your LLC, you've got your corporations, congratulations, that's huge. But just because it's established does not mean that it's actually structured properly, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about that on how to structure your business properly. And then also a smart strategy. You have to know and understand to apply at the right banks, at the right time, in the right order. This is nothing about the funding process is random. Everything, like I said, is very, very, very intentional. Now, to give you an idea, and to start to break this down, is we're going to imagine two people walking into a bank, right? Because this is how banks look at it, right? So borrower one walks into the bank, they give their information, and here's what the result of that information is, right? So borrower one comes in, they've got recent late payments on their reports, their cards are maxed out or near the limit, their addresses don't match, so they're hard to find. When they're asked about what they want to use for their use of funds, they don't really know, right? So they don't have a clear use of funds. And when they're asked for their documents, they're scattered, they're inconsistent, and they're not easily verifiable. Therefore, the result of that application is that it looks uncertain, right? So again, banks fund predictability. So let's look at the opposite side. Let's look at borrower number two. So borrower number two walks in, they've got a clean payment streak. They're showing a record of being able to manage their finances. They've got low card balances. They're not maxed out. They're easily verifiable because their name and their addresses match across their license, across public records, across credit report. When they're asked for their use of funds and how they're going to use it, it is growth focused, like on the things that we talked about earlier: marketing, staffing, using things that are actually going to potentially generate an ROI or a return on the investment or capital that is lended, right? And when they're asked for their documents, they're clean, they're organized, and they're consistent. The result of that is that it looks predictable. Again, banks are going to prioritize the file that actually looks predictable and seems trustworthy, right? Now, how do we position ourselves if we're at borrower one? And I want you to understand, it's not about where you start. It's about getting the information, applying the information so that you can understand how to look like a qualified applicant, right? So how do we position ourselves to look like borrower two in the previous scenario, right? So understand, a lot of people come to me, or you'll see a lot online. Hey, I've got a 700 credit score. I've got a 750 credit score. I want $100,000 in funding. I want $500,000 in funding. They want large amounts of funding because the credit score looks good. I want you to understand is that when it comes to lending, banks do not lend based on the credit score. You have to understand, they're going to look at the full picture. So they're not necessarily just looking at the credit score. They are looking at what we refer to as the credit profile. The credit profile is the actual accounts that make up the credit score and is actually a representation of the history you have been able to manage, right? So it's not about credit score. It's about how each account is actually reporting on the reports that the bank actually reviews. So how do we position ourselves? There's really a six-step process. Number one is payment history, right? Being able to show a record of paying bills on time, right? When we are looking for more money and we are looking for more access to capital, we want to show that the person or the lender that we are requesting capital from, we want to show that we have a history of doing so, right? As an example, most people have a family member, right? Let's make this simple. Most people have a family member or know a friend or know of someone who's always like, hey, let me borrow some money until X date and I'm going to pay you back, right? And sometimes that person, or we may know someone who has built a reputation of not paying people back, right? And ultimately, after a while, when this person asks you to borrow money, it is not the expectation, or you don't believe that that person is going to pay you back, right? Banks think the same exact way. They are going to base it based on the reports and the information they can actually review, right? So we want to make sure that the payment history is clean. Number two, card balances. We want to keep bank balances or balances low. A key data point here is that you want to be less than 30% utilization. Now, let me explain this. Banks and lending institutions are absolutely in the business of lending money. However, we have to understand that because it's a risk assessment, banks like to, or yes, they tend to lend or like to lend to applicants who don't look like they need the money, right? Now, how do we signal to the bank that we don't need the money and we are just looking to leverage it, right? A key data point here is keeping our utilization low. When we keep our utilization low, that signals to the bank that we are not over leveraged, right? Now, let me make simple math. Let's say I have $1,000 credit card. If I'm using $500 out of the available $1,000 credit card, I'm using 50% utilization. If I have $1,000 credit card and I'm using $100 out of that credit card, that means I have a 10% utilization, right? So the data point here, the key data point here is that you want to stay less than 30% utilization, ideally between 1 and 10% utilization for optimal results, right? So that's card balances. Number three, matching information. When you go to a bank, your name and your addresses need to match the same everywhere. from your driver's license to your credit report to the banking information to any leases that you have. All of that information needs to line up exactly, and there doesn't need to be any variation or misspellings of your name, your locations, or your addresses, right? So very, very important. Number 3 is actually the number 1 reason that most businesses get denied. Again, it's not because they didn't qualify. It's just because they weren't able to be easily verifiable on public record. Now, number 4 is account age. History. Going back to history, lenders want to see experience and a documented history of an applicant's financial behaviors, right? So older accounts are going to look better because now banks can see how you have operated over time, right? If someone has a bunch of new accounts and those accounts are only, let's say, a couple months old or less than a year, banks know about financial seasons. They know that there are up seasons and down seasons. And the reason they like older accounts is because it shows that over periods of time through multiple seasons, this applicant has been able to manage the credit or finances that they have, right? So when you're doing this, you don't want to have a whole bunch of new accounts and be going to look for more access to capital, because now it starts to make us look desperate to the bank, right? Going back to what I was talking about. Banks are absolutely in the business to lend money, but they want to lend money to applicants that don't look like they need the money. So we don't want to seem desperate by adding a whole bunch of new accounts to our reports, right? Number 5 is inquiries. This is another top reason that a lot of applicants or businesses get denied access to capital. Now, a lot of people look at inquiries and they're looking at the credit score. This is why I tell you the credit score is not what lenders are looking at when they're looking to qualify you. They're looking at the actual profile. I see a lot of applicants. They've got 730, 750, 770 credit scores, but they've got a lot of recent inquiries. And even though a lot of people assume that because credit inquiries don't impact your credit score very much, that they're not very important. They are extremely important in this process, right? So when you have too many inquiries, it looks like too many applications are being submitted in a short time. And again, it looks desperate. We don't want to look like we are out here desperately looking for capital. We want to be very strategic in the applications that we actually submit. And number 6, always be organized. It's going to be a lot easier for you, and it's going to be a lot easier for the lender when they are reviewing your profile. So have all of your documents organized in a clean folder before you walk into any bank, right? These are things like your business paperwork, your identification information, any supporting documentation that you need to verify you and your business, right? So this is the foundation of how you're actually going to position yourself for access to capital. Now, the next thing is now we're going to talk about how to actually set up your business the right way. Because again, just because you have a business established does not mean that it's actually set up the right way. And the truth of the matter is that when banks see a real business, they will send real money, right? So I don't want to assume where anyone is. So I just want to start from the bottom and we're going to work our way up. Now, we have to understand is that when it comes to finances, we want to separate our personal and our business, right? Us as a person, we operate a certain level or a certain way, and then the business is completely separate, right? So we have to make the business look and operate like a professional business. Now, how do you do this? You're going to register. Now, let me back up because I said this in the beginning, but I just want to make sure that we take it all the way home. Christina teaches you all about how to build trust to protect your assets. Now, again, from my personal experience and my personal strategy, the way that I like to operate is I like to keep my trust private. Therefore, I like to leverage public entities like LLCs and corporations to operate in the best interest of the trust, right? So for my personal strategy and the way that I give the blueprint for what works for me is keeping the trust private and leveraging LLCs and corporations, right? Now, in order to do that, we have to register an LLC or a corporation with the Secretary of State. Every state has a Secretary of State, and this is the entity where you go and you actually establish your business on record. Now, when you do that, the same way that Christina has showed you how to get an EIN for your business or for your trust is a very, very similar process to go to irs.gov and get your EIN for each business as well too, right? Now, when you do that, you want to have a business address. Now, ideally, we want a real address. When it comes to funding specifically, PO boxes are not going to work, right? So what you want to do is, in the past, a lot of people have talked about virtual offices. I was a huge advocate of virtual offices. However, a lot of the main virtual office companies have become very popular and they are starting to get flagged. So in order for you to get a business address, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Google and you are going to Google your city and your state where you are or where your business is, and you are going to type in your city and state and executive office suite. Now, when you do that, you are going to get a designated area, usually pretty cost efficient. Most of them are like, I've seen some states where they're like $25 a month. Most times, just to set realistic expectations, they're probably going to be like $50 to $100 a month. But it's important because it's going to establish your business as a solid and a verifiable business in the local area, and it's going to be very, very cost efficient, right? Now, when you have this business address, you want to make sure that it matches everywhere on the Secretary of State, right? Everywhere that the business is, you want to make sure that it matches. Now, couple things. When business addresses, since COVID, I always try to tell you legitimize your business and make it look as professional as possible. However, some people, it's not about where you start, it's about where you're going, right? So it is acceptable, it is more acceptable since COVID if businesses have a home address, but it always looks a lot more professional to have an executive office suite that is separate from your personal and your business, right? Now, the next thing is a business bank account. I cannot tell you how many times I have consulted with a business owner or an entrepreneur who has a business, but they've been running all the money through their personal account, right? We do not want to do that. We want to have personal accounts, we want to have business accounts, and we want to separate them. So what you are going to do is you are going to open up a business checking account to separate the finances and start to have the business revenue go through there in order to generate regular deposits, right? This is going to have the foundation to have your business look and be presented like a professional business. Now, the next step to that is you want a professional email. Now, how do you do this? You're going to first get your business website, right? Now, you can use websites like GoDaddy.com. We personally use websites like Google Domains. You're going to get the website for your business. So for example, if your business is ABC Consulting, you want to go purchase the domain for abcconsulting.com or something similar. Maybe it's an abcconsulting.co or a .net, right? But you want that email to be set up at that domain. So when people email you, if your name is Bob, it's Bob at abcconsulting.com, which looks a lot more professional than what most people do, and they just go set up a Google or a Yahoo, right? That doesn't look as professional. Anytime you communicate with a professional business, you are communicating with emails at their professional domain, right? It looks a lot more professional and it looks a lot more established. So you want to have that professional email, very, very important. You also want to have a business phone number, and you want to have that same number designated for the business on all of the reports. And you do want an online presence. You want some kind of website, and you don't have to have thousands and thousands of dollars to do websites. AI is very popular now. There are a lot of platforms you can go and get an AI website. There's a website called Fiverr com. You can, have someone there build you a website. It doesn't have to be a website with all the bells and whistles. It can be a simple one-page website that has some information about your business, maybe a picture of you, and then just some kind of way for people to contact you, right? It shows that your business is active and actively looking for business, right? So you want to have some kind of simple website, preferably Google listings, and sometimes active social media profiles, again, to show that your business is actually growth focused and in a position to actually capitalize on the capital it is getting, right? Now, we have covered a lot so far as a foundation. If there's any changes, right, as we go through this, I just want you to write them down as we actually progress through, for maybe some things you knew, maybe some things you didn't, maybe some things you need to work on, maybe some things you need to research just to make sure that everything is aligned. So as you go through that, I just want you to notate those. And again, like I said, we can talk about that at the end. Now, when it comes to a fundable business, right? Because again, just because someone has a business established does not mean that it's actually a fundable business. So you do have to have the foundation set up. And there are ultimately typically 3 ways that we help clients position themselves for access to capital. We're going to talk about 3 of them here. We're going to talk about the startup, we're going to talk about age corporations, and we're going to talk a little bit about acquisitions, right? So there are pros and cons to every one. I just like to talk about and make sure that you are aware of all of your available options, right? So the startup phase, the first thing I want to clarify here, a very common misconception is that just because you have a startup business does not mean that you can't get access to capital. A lot of business owners believe, hey, I've got this startup business. I started it a couple weeks ago. I started it a month ago. I started it a couple months ago. It's a startup business. I can't get any funding. That is false. There are opportunities. When you follow the foundation that I teach you, there are opportunities to get access to startup funding. So the benefit here for a startup business is that you can build it from the ground up. You can create everything the way that you want it to do, all of the flexibility, right? Now, startups can secure capital. You need to be established at least 30 days. But going back to what I was talking about earlier is history. Lenders and banks like to lend on history. So, of course, while funding is possible and accessible to startups, you do typically get higher access to capital the older the entity. So this leads me to my next topic, which is age corporations. Some of you may have an age corporation already, and you might not even realize how valuable it was to you, right? So all this is a pre-existing entity with built-in history. So in very simple terms, an age corporation is a corporation that was established at a previous date. The reason I say some of you may have an age corporation right now, and you may not realize how valuable it is some of you may have had an LLC or a corporation or a business, and you might have started up a year ago or a couple years ago. Maybe it didn't go anywhere, right? Maybe you didn't do a whole lot with it. Maybe you just set it up for 1 year. Maybe you didn't think about it again, right? And maybe today you're like, hey, he's right. I did have this LLC I set up 2 or 3 years ago. Congratulations. You have an age corporation. Now, because lenders look at history, the older a business is, the way it's perceived is the more seasons that it survived. Therefore, the more established it is. Again, create more history means more reliable application. So when you have a longer established history or a longer credit history, you get a broader access to financing because the business is older. It has some experience, right? Now, if you have an age corporation, congratulations. There's also markets where you can purchase age corporations, and instead of you having to start a business today from the startup and be treated like a startup business, some strategies for certain business owners will use is they'll purchase an age corporation for the age so that they can have a more established business, right? Now, the downside to age corporations is that if you have one already, that's great. If you're using certain marketplaces to get to get age corporations, you do just have to have a due diligence process because not all age corporations are the same, right? So if you don't know about age corporations, do a lot of research. They are very valuable. If shameless plug, if anyone ever needs age corporations, we do have partners where we can source them for reliable and quality age corporations, right? On to the next portion is acquisitions. So we also work with a lot of business owners who are in the acquisition space and they want access to capital. So the pro here to acquisitions is that you can buy a business. There's a possibility to buy a business with already established operations. You can get immediate revenue, staff, and customer relations, right? So the fast track to this is that ultimately you can buy a business that's already operating and leverage the revenue, credit, and relationships that that business has established, and ultimately fast track your growth and get immediate access to capital, right? Now, acquisition is another one of those. It is a great process, but if you're not familiar with acquisitions, you do have to be very cautious because there is a due diligence phase anytime you are acquiring other businesses, right? But these are the three possibilities that I want you to be aware of for ways that you can actually position your business to actually be fundable. Now, types of funding. When it comes to funding, the reason I say this is a very specific and tailored scenario is because there's a lot of funding products. Not all of them. People ask me all the time, hey, what's the best product? There are some that I typically tend to go towards that can be applicable to every business, but ultimately every business operates a little bit differently. All products are great depending on what the business actually needs, right? So we're going to talk about a couple different funding types, and we're going to give you a little bit of understanding to what they are. So funding products are things like credit cards, business lines of credit. You can look at revenue-based financing, whether that's term loans or lines of credit. SBA loans are another great product, and then term loans as well. Again, all of these products are great depending on what your business actually needs. So let's break down a little bit what each one of these is actually best for. So when it comes to credit cards are great for a lot of people use, or a lot of business owners will leverage 0% business credit cards in order to grow their business. It has the 0% introductory rate, typically anywhere from 6 to 18 months. A lot of 0% interest rates are about 12 months. And remember, there are thousands of banks. So the reason that business owners like this is because leverage. A smart investor wants to leverage 0% because it's the cheapest money that you can find to leverage for the business. So credit cards are great for the 0% introductory rates. Some of them do have rewards, so you can earn rewards from those as well. And ultimately, fast working capital, right? So credit cards are great for those. Now, there's another product called a business line of credit, one of my personal favorite products. Now, the way it works is a business line of credit works almost similar to a credit card in the fact of the lender or the bank will give you a credit limit, and you only pay or have payments on what you actually use. The difference between a business line of credit and a credit card, well, two things. The business line of credit doesn't have 0% interest. The credit cards are the only product that you can actually leverage 0% interest funding for 6 to 18 months. So that is different, but the business line of credit is similar to the credit card, but it's easier to just make cash withdrawals, wire transfers, or be able to write checks against the business line of credit. The benefit of that is that it has flexible access to cash, and you can draw what you need when you actually need it. Now, revenue-based financing. A lot of what we talk about is credit-based financing, right? But revenue-based financing gives another perspective that lenders can look at when they are looking to actually lend out capital, right? So revenue-based financing, it's good for quick cash injections based on your business revenue. Also, revenue-based financing is a solution because for certain businesses, because sometimes, again, it's not about where we are, it's about where we're going. Sometimes business owners have some challenges on their credit, right? So maybe their credit profiles don't look as pristine or as optimal as lenders would like. But if the business has verifiable revenue, then lenders will prioritize revenue-based funding options. So this is a key component because I work with a lot of business owners who are in those similar scenarios. They will come to us and they'll be denied at major banks or lending institutions. They'll come to us. We're not aware of the fact that they could get revenue-based financing and they can actually leverage the business revenue, right? So that's what revenue-based financing is for. Just to set some clear expectations, most revenue-based lenders minimally want to see like $10,000 a month. $20,000 a month is going to be a lot better. But typically for revenue-based financing, a good benchmark or intro level is a business doing about $10,000 a month, right? Now, SBA loans are phenomenal. It is the Small Business Administration. They are a great program. Those kind of loans are really good for like larger amounts. A lot of times when people are doing acquisitions or purchasing commercial real estate, they'll do a lot of the SBA. SBA is great for larger amounts and longer repayment terms. The only downside to the SBA is that it is a little bit of a process. On average, it could take 4 to 6 weeks in most scenarios. I have seen SBA deals that have gone up to 3 months to go through the underwriting process. So it is a great program, but it's really worth it for larger amounts and more of those longer repayment terms. Term loans work a little bit different than lines of credit. So term loans are another great option. Those are best for like fixed, predictable monthly payments. So a term loan is, let's say you got approved, let's just keep simple math. Let's say you got approved for a $10,000 term loan. In that scenario, the lender would deposit the approved amount, the $10,000, into the business checking account, and then there would be a set monthly payment over a set period of time, right? So term loans are great for access to cash and fixable repayment terms. And then the difference between a term loan and a business line of credit is that, let's say, again, for example, let's use $10,000. Let's say I got a business line of credit. I got approved for $10,000, but I only need to use $1,000, right? Then I would only withdraw $1,000, and my payments are only based on what I actually use, not necessarily the full amount of the approval amount. The ultimate thing I want you to understand here is that when you know how to qualify yourself and position yourself for the funding based on the things that we've talked about previously and what these products are actually best for, when you actually understand this, when you actually qualify, then yes, you can actually fund it. Now, moving on to relationship banking. Relationships in life matters, relationships in business matters, and relationships in banking absolutely matter, right? And so you have to understand how to actually build relationships with banks. So what does that mean? I'm going to show you exactly how to approach it so that you can operate like an experienced business owner. Give me about 10 seconds. Let me get a sip of water and we'll get right back into it. Now, we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to go over what to bring when you go to the bank. We're going to go over the best practices, and I'm going to give you a couple questions that you can ask that will make you feel like an expert to the banker, right? So number one, we want to be prepared. We want to stay ready so we don't have to get ready. So when we go there, what do we want to bring? We want to bring a clear business explanation. It's an elevator pitch. Understand this. This is important. The banker's going to want to know what your business is, how it operates, and what it does. You don't want a long, drawn-out answer and give this whole novel as to what your business is. You want a very punctual, very valuable, maybe 2 to 5 sentence explanation. I'd really probably say 2 to 4 sentence explanation of what your business is. You want to be very direct, because when you are talking about your business and it's direct, it looks like you have experience explaining your business. If you're sitting there doing a long drawn out answer and you're not really sure what it is, right, it starts to make the banker feel like, well, maybe they're not as used to explaining what their business does, right? So a lot of these foundational small things that seem so significant have a huge impact when it's actually time to go through the application process, right? So you want a clear and short business explanation. Deposit funds. Here's another misconception. A lot of people think, hey, I've had to have thousands and thousands of dollars to put in these bank accounts. You don't have to. So now every bank is a little bit different. Some banks do have minimal thresholds. Generally speaking, though, as long as you have $100 minimal to put into the account, open the account, put a deposit in there, and activate the account. Now, I want you to position yourself for the maximum, not the minimum. So you only need really $100 minimal, depending on the bank. Certain banks do have certain thresholds, but the more money that you put into the bank, the stronger that relationship is, the more serious the bank treats your business, right? So understand, you want to put as much money as possible when you are building relationships with the banks. You do have to have a personal ID. You do have to be able to verify yourself. Every bank is going to have a KYC process, which is just short for know your customer. Ultimately, you have to be able to verify yourself. You have to be able to verify your entity through your entity documents. So this is what you want to bring. When you go to the bank, they don't want to ask you for your business information or your EIN letter, and you're like, I don't know what that is, or I don't have that, right? Again, it doesn't look professional. So you want to go there prepared. Now, best practice, keep it short and direct, just like I was talking about in the clear business explanation. Don't do a long drawn out answer. Please, I promise you, these small things matter. Bankers talk to a lot of applicants consistently. They can tell the difference when someone looks experienced and is used to this versus this may be someone's first time, right? So understand, these are the things that you're going to do to make yourself be treated like a professional business owner, right? Always focus on long-term relationship. It's not about necessarily how much money you can get all from the bank now or what you can get now. It's how can we build long-term, right? Banks are going to prioritize an applicant or a business who is interested to do business with them long-term, right? Especially now, more than ever, banking is relationship banking, right? When you have an appointment, show up early, at least 5 to 10 minutes early. Please don't be late. Show up early, never be late. That is not a good look when you are building relationships with bankers. And again, these relationships matter. Bankers know these things. They know when someone was early and ready to go. They're going to know when someone was late and they feel like they wasted their time, right? You want a good impression when you are building these relationships. When you explain your business, you want to explain it in a understandable, digestible, and growth focused. When you do that, you are going to be helped classified as a lower risk business, right? Very, very, very important. What to ask? These are the things that you want to ask the bankers for understanding how you can actually use them. So let me give you a little bit of insight. The foundation that most people have to start at, even when they're looking for business funding, is the bank generally will look at the personal credit to qualify that person for business funding. Now, generally, some people in rare cases do have strong enough business credit to go ahead and move on without it. However, that is the exception to the standard. Standard practice is that a bank or lender, even if it's business funding, they are going to look at your credit report. Now, understand this. When I give you this piece, understand this. There are 3 major personal credit reporting agencies. There's TransUnion, there's Experian, and there is Equifax. Again, there are 3 major personal credit reporting agencies. There is TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Now, the reason I say that is because most people assume when they go look for financing and they check their credit, they assume that they're checking all 3 credit reporting agencies. Generally, that is not true. Generally, there are some banks who will view all 3, but generally speaking, banks will look at 1 or a combination of 2 of the 3. Now, this is important because when you are structuring funding deals, it's important to know which banks pull which credit bureaus or which credit reporting agency out of the TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax in consideration for that application, right? How do you find out this information without running thousands of applications? You're going to ask them, hey, Mr. Banker, Miss Banker, I'm looking for your business credit card. I want to apply for your, your business term loan. Just out of curiosity, what credit bureau do you review or pull in consideration for the application? Awesome. If they're a knowledgeable banker, they're going to be able to give you that information. That is very, very, very valuable information, right? Number two, you want to ask the banker, can you apply for multiple products? The reason that you want to ask this is because I've seen a lot of business owners leave a lot of money on the table just by not understanding that there's a possibility to get multiple products. Not at every bank, but at some banks, right? So what does this mean? That means I could go to one bank, excuse me, and I might be able to apply for a business credit card and a business line of credit. I might be able to apply for 2 business credit cards. I might be able to apply for multiple products, right? With the same inquiry. This is important because I've seen business owners go to the bank and they're looking for capital and they got a great approval on one product. They might have couldn't gotten 2, 3, or 4 other products, but they just didn't know that that was a possibility. Again, we want to maximize our opportunities and our leverage when we are doing these kind of things, right? So how do you know this? You're going to ask the banker, hey, when I apply for this business credit card or this business line of credit, is there a possibility for me to apply for multiple products? They'll give you that answer, right? Next thing, ask them ahead of time, what documents do you need? For certain products, you need a lot of documentation. For other products, you don't need a lot of documentation. You want to know what documents are going to be needed prior, again, to submitting that application. And then the other thing here is what's the timeline. Now, this is important for 2 reasons. Not every bank, but some banks, you have to bank with them an X amount of time for a certain period of time before you can actually access their products, right? So, for example, if you're in a great position, you're trying to close on a deal, let's say next month, and you go to a bank, you want to ask what's the timeline because you might be assuming that you're going to go open this account and you're going to be able to access that capital next month. And then you get ready to apply the next month. And then you find out that to be with that particular bank, you have to be with them for 6 months before you can actually apply for their products. That has happened, and that is detrimental in business at times, right? So it's very important when you're establishing and building a relationship with these banks, you want to know what their timeline is before you can actually apply for products, and also the timeline for the application process, right? Very, very, very important questions. And I promise you, these couple things right here will save you a lot of time and wasted money and a lot of frustration as well. I promise you, right? Now, I don't know why my presentation has been giving me some issues here lately, so we're just going to move right along. Unfortunately, we will just have to see it from this screen. Can everyone still see my screen so far? Just do me a favor and put a 1 in the chat if you can still see my screen. I just want to make sure. Perfect, perfect. All right, now do me a favor. I just want a little bit of a temperature check. I know I've kind of given you a lot of information. If you have found something new today, if you found something valuable at all, do me a favor, let me know if you're paying attention and just type win in the chat for me. I just want to make sure that you're all getting value, that you're all learning something, and that we can actually apply this moving forward. Okay, awesome, great, great, thank you. Now, moving on to, because now we've laid the foundation. Again, like I said earlier, all of the work we do for funding is done before we ever submit that application, right? Prior to today, I'm sure probably that's the assumption that a lot of you have had, right? But as you see, there's a foundation and we have to check all of these things first before we ever submit that application, because if we do it in the wrong order and we don't do it the right way, those missteps can cost us a lot of money and a lot of mistakes and a lot of unnecessary frustration, right? I've been through it personally. I've worked with a lot of other business owners. I've seen a lot of scenarios over the years, right? Now, because of that, again, I like to talk about a couple things. Prior to today, you may not have known this information. right? So like I always say, it's not about where you are, it's about where you're going next, right? And I want you to understand that this is possible. So over the years, these are some of our biggest success stories in relatability. I love these because they tell a great story. They give you a great understanding about where you can start, where you're currently at, and where you can go, but it actually gives you real life scenarios. So I want to give you a couple scenarios for a couple clients we've worked with that have actually used this information and applied it to their business, right? Now, the disclaimer here is nothing in funding is guaranteed, right? It's understanding how to position ourselves for the highest probability of that application, right? Nothing is guaranteed. So I want you to understand, as a disclaimer, past performances do not guarantee future results, but when you follow this process, this is how you lay the blueprint, right? So the first scenario here is I want to talk about Marcus, right? Because the highlight of this story is that he went from being denied, where he got a $75,000 approval from the current biggest bank in the United States, right? Now, the problem here is that Marcus went online. He saw all this information about go to this bank and apply here and go to this bank and apply here. And he thought he opened the golden chest. He's like, all I had to do was go online, go to this bank and apply, and I was just going to get all this money, right? That was what his assumption was. Ultimately, what happened was he got denied, right? He got denied by multiple banks. He really didn't think funding was an option, right? And the problem is because of things like he didn't know the information that I gave you today. He just thought it was go online, press a button, and all this money was going to fall out the sky, right? Now, the problem is that he had outdated addresses. He had current addresses. He had previous addresses, information all over the place, right? He had high card balances, and he had some late payments. Ultimately, he got discouraged. He thought funding wasn't an option, right? He just thought it was a bunch of hooey, right? He didn't think it was real. Ultimately, what we did was we helped him understand those exact denial reasons. We helped him understand, hey, this is what you need to look like before you go and submit that application. So we helped him understand his denial reasons. We helped him understand how to clean up his credit report, lower his utilization, and build positive reporting accounts. Again, not about where you start. It's about getting the information, applying it to where you're going. The result of that at the end was he was able to leverage the information and a relationship that we established with a banker at Chase. We were able to process him with Chase. He was not a typical result, but a possible result. When you lay the foundation, he got $75,000 from Chase. In his particular product, it's a Chase Inc. Business Cash, which is a 0% business credit card for 12 months. So he has the opportunity, or had the opportunity, to leverage $75,000 at 0% interest for 12 months, which he was able to invest into his business. And he was able to invest in marketing and update and upgrade equipment, all without using his savings when he came to us as a 590 credit score and had no idea how to actually position himself for funding, right? So I love that story because it's about where you can go. The next story I like is about a client of mine, Michael, right? Now, Michael is a great scenario because out of everything we've talked about, Michael had it all on paper, right? He had an established business. Everything was operating. He had great credit, but he was frustrated. And ultimately, he was frustrated because he had been banking with one bank for years. This is what a lot of business owners do. They bank with one bank. Excuse me, hang on. I'm a little struggling there. Hang on. He banked with one institution, great business, and he just assumed that the loyalty there would get him the best deals. He just assumed that, hey, I've got this bank, all banks are the same. I've got this bank, I've been with them for years. They're going to give me everything I'm looking for. The problem is that he needed some acquisition capital, and the bank that he was working with, or bank that he banked at, wasn't a bad option, but we helped him realize there are other options, right? And so all we did was help him understand, hey, you've got a great lending relationship here. We don't want to hurt or bother anything that you have going on over there. You've done that. What we want you to do is realize there are other banks out there, other lenders who would love the opportunity to service your business. That's all we did. And we helped them do one little pivot. We introduced them to a lender. If you look over here on the right, I don't know if you can see it as much, but down here it says a little over 300,000 was the result of this application. This client, he actually was approved for a little over, I think it was like 330, 350,000. He actually took the $300,000 from one lender that he could use in order to actually close on these deals. So again, sometimes on paper, it looks like you're doing everything right. You've got the business, you've got the credit, but you don't necessarily know the right banks on how to leverage, right? And this is a scenario for a lot of high leverage founders and a lot of high level operators. And the last story I want to talk about here is Eric, because me personally, I've been talking about this for a long time, right? And naturally across this journey, along this journey, there are people who believe it and see the results, and there are people who are non-believers, right? I personally love to take a non-believer and turn them into a believer, because they become the biggest advocates once they understand the believer in the process and actually get the result, right? This is why I like Eric. Eric is what we call the poster child of banks are the enemy, right? So he was a 10-year entrepreneur, completely self-funded, very happy, right? Very vocal about being self-funded, and a huge accomplishment, right? Like, that is huge. To survive 10 years, run a business, etc. He thought that bank loans and financing meant losing control. He always thought debt was bad, right? And he just didn't understand how to actually leverage it. So what we helped him understand was that, hey, you've got a great business, but to go to the next level, you're going to need this, this, and this, and you're going to need access to capital in order to do it. So we helped show him and realize that banks aren't the enemies. They're investors that we can leverage because they're in the business of lending money. And if you speak their language and understand how they work, then you can position your business to actually qualify for the funding that you are requesting, right? The result over here, if you look over here to the right, not sure if you can really see it, but down here, this is another example of multiple products from one bank, right? So as an example, if you look over here, it says a responsive, that's a business line of credit for 50,000 and a business credit card for 40,000. So I like to highlight this. For one, we were able to go to one bank, get two products, $90,000 at one bank. But on the reverse side, you know how many business owners I consult who would have gotten one product and been happy and realized that they could have got another doubled up, right? So some other business owner out there would have been in the same situation and would have left either $40,000 or $50,000 on the table that they already qualified for, just because they didn't know how to ask for multiple products, right? So it's very, very important understanding the strategies and information that I teach you, right? Now, the ultimate thing here to understand is everything that I've said so far. If I haven't made it clear, funding is not luck. It's not randomly submitting a button. It's not going online and just submitting some random, application and just hoping on a whim that it works. It's positioning yourself to understand how to position yourself, because it's a system. The clients you saw today, they didn't get lucky. They followed the proven strategy and the data points that it takes to qualify yourself, which is the same one that I have gone over with you today, right? Ultimately, they had a roadmap. They knew which banks to approach and when, and they understood how to position their credit and business to actually qualify for what they were requesting. This is the power of having a real playbook. And this is why we talk about the funding playbook, because everything we do is very strategic, and everything builds upon every previous step, builds upon the next step to get to the ultimate objective, which is to get you funded. Now, I know we kind of covered a lot. I'm going to try to recap here really quick just to make it very, very simple, right? There's 4 phases. Phase 1 is clean and aligned. So making sure that you pull your reports. You want to get your reports. You want to make sure that you have all of that information on there. You want to make sure to match your name and address everywhere. If you have any current negative marks, that's fine. It's just now we're going to have to, now that we recognize them and we know they're there, now we're going to fix them, right? So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is stabilize and prepare. So this is where you're going to make sure that you pay down those credit card balances. You want to open those business bank accounts. You want to gather all of your key documents to make sure that you are prepared to go through this process. Number 3, verify and plan. So you're going to you're going to identify your strongest reports based on the credit report. Again, there's 3: TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. You want to map out which banks to approach first, and you want to get pre-qualified with that bank by calling the bankers, seeing the alignment, and finding the banks that are actually going to actually make sense for your current situation. And then phase 4, you're going to execute and review. So you're going to apply for those banks, you're going to log the results, and you're going to adjust based on the feedback and the results that you get from the bank. Very important here. You make data-driven decisions. Don't force a funding plan. You want to make data-driven decisions based on the feedback that you're getting, and then be able to pivot. And then you can plan your next round. Understand there are thousands of banks. The reason I say that is because you can do this process over and over and over again. And this is how you can start to raise capital for your business, right? This is the game right here. Understanding how to leverage banks and other people's money in the best interest of your business, right? Now, what do you actually need to qualify? Want to kind of summarize this here. When we look at lending, there are 3 C's that we look at when it comes to lending. The 3 C's are credit, so personal credit or business credit, cash, so income for personal or business, ideally business income, or collateral. So some lenders will typically use one or a combination of these in consideration for the application, right? Now, credit-based qualifications, if you don't know this about me by yet, I really hate talking about credit scores because they're just not really a good indication of whether somebody actually qualifies for funding or not. But just because, again, I talk so much about the credit profile and the makeup of the credit profile. But just generally speaking, if we're looking at credit scores, a 680 plus range would give you an idea, a slight idea of what you may potentially qualify for, right? So typically, if it is credit score, you want to look for 680 plus. You want at least one major credit card. So a major credit card is Visa, Mastercard, American Express, right? These are major credit card lenders. You want to work with the big dogs because it shows that you have an established relationship with the bigger companies, right? Minimally, really here, you want a 1+ year old credit card with a $2,000 plus limit. If you have less, it is okay, but understand banks are going to lend based on the comparables of what you already have, right? So it's very, very important. No derogatory marks, no collections, no charge-offs, no bankruptcies, no late payments minimally within the last 12 months, ideally none within the last 2 years. When it comes to inquiries, I know they don't damage your credit score a lot, but they absolutely matter to the credit profile. You don't want more than 3 inquiries within the last 6 to 12 months, and you want to keep those credit card balances low, really between 1 to like 29%. You want to keep them less than 30%, right? What to bring? You want to have your personal ID, so you have your driver's license. You always want to have your proof of address, any utility bills, leases, any things of that nature that you have. You do want to bring your EIN letter from the IRS, always. It's the easiest way to verify your business. You want to have the articles of incorporation, or the OA as the operating agreement. Ultimately, sometimes you really want both. The business bank statements, if applicable, bring those with you. And then always a short explanation of your business and the use of funds that are growth focused. Now, what's next? I've given you a lot of information. I've given you very applicable information that I want you to execute on immediately. Now, ultimately, what's next? You really have 2 options. You can take everything that you've learned here today and you can go and do it yourself. And congratulations, because if you do, you're going to be better prepared than a large majority of people or applicants that are actually out here looking for funding. Or you do have the option to let our team guide you every step of the way. Now, in that scenario, we would be the ones who would work with you to help you facilitate this deal, and it's a white glove service with us. So we manage the things like managing your personalized audit, creating the custom funding sequence from the relationships and banks that we work with, expert strategy, structure, and support every step of the way, and then you get access to our proven network, and resources. Either way, the most important thing I want you to do is take action. So either way, you now have a roadmap, you now have an understanding of the process, and the only question is ultimately, how fast do you want to move? How fast do you want to execute, right? Now, a lot of times at this point, people say, hey, Dorsey, I would love to work with you, but it's probably thousands of dollars to even just get started with you and your team. And the way that we operate, I'm a big fan of delivering the results. I'm not a big fan of telling you all the things that we can do and then underperforming, right? So what we like to do is a performance-based model. The way that we work is we don't charge anything up front to get started. We take on all the risk. We take on all the staff, the support, all the coaching to take you from where you are to get you to the objective. We don't charge up front, and we operate on a performance-based model. Now, I like to be very transparent, right? I like to work with who wants to work with us, and I like you to have a real understanding of what it's like to go through that process. The way that we work as a performance-based company, we just want a simple tip for our efforts. We earn a 10% commission of the amount funded once you actually receive access to the capital. Now, some people hear 10% and think that's high, but here's what that actually means. That means you get no guesswork, you get no retainers. You're not charging a down payment or a monthly service fee in order to service it, which ultimately means there's no risk to you. You get a proven process, expert support, and we leverage real banking relationships and real banking data that we process applications with. And ultimately, you save time, you avoid those costly mistakes, and you ultimately walk into funding with confidence. The reality is you're not paying for a maybe, you're investing into strategy, results, momentum, and results, which are only compensated. We're only compensated after we actually deliver those results, right? So this is how we work. Ultimately, what's going to happen is Christina 7 Ways and her team are going to put a link in the chat. All you will need to do is click that link in the chat. It will take you about 30 seconds to complete the information and schedule your call with a member of our team. Now, again, I'm someone who likes to set all of the expectations. So when you click that link and you go ahead and get started for us to figure out your first steps to get funded, ultimately, I want to prepare you for a couple things. So when you book that appointment, you are going to monitor your spam and your promotional folder, email folder immediately after booking. You're going to get a confirmation of your time. There's also going to be a couple videos in that email that I personally shot that is going to set all the expectations and walk you through what this process actually looks like. Now, please note, you're also going to get a text confirmation. Very important. We are primarily a text-based support system. So what this means is that when you get that text confirmation, yes, I want you to know you can reply to that text. If you have any questions, if for whatever reason you schedule an appointment and you need to reschedule, you have the ability to communicate with the text, right? Understand, we're a text-based support team. So do not book the appointment and reply to the email. You will not get a response. Please text us, and I assure you, you will get a response in a timely manner. Typical responses can take 3 to 24 business hours. On average, you will get a response within 6 hours working with our team through the text-based support team. And then what you are scheduling is an actual intake call. This is a call where you meet one-on-one with someone from our team that will actually walk you through how to collect your personal information, your personal credit report, and your business information. We use all of this information together to help you understand where you are and ultimately your first steps to get funded. Now, a couple things that I want to clarify here for best practices, because I want you to have the best experience. So when you schedule that call, it is scheduled for a 30-minute video call on Zoom. Please don't schedule a Zoom call and then request to have a phone call with our team. That is not the way it works. Understand, this is a call scheduled for 30 minutes on Zoom. Choose a day and a time that you can actually be attentive on Zoom for about 30 minutes. We are a professional business. We expect all of the businesses and all of the clients that we work with to operate in a professional manner. Therefore, you must show up on time. What I talked about earlier, you really want to be early, right? We want to get into that practice here. If you are more than 3 minutes late, you will have to reschedule, right? We understand things happen. If something happens, please text us ahead of time. Let us know, right? But again, when you have an appointment, you must show up on time. The next thing is you must be at a computer. We are going to be walking you through how to access files, upload files, download files, and sometimes on the mobile version, if you're not aware, there's a difference between mobile version and like computer desktop versions. Sometimes on mobile version, you just get a lot more technical issues and frustrations. It just makes it easier to be at a computer, and it keeps all of us on track. And yes, we are a funding company. We are a funding consulting firm. And again, if you haven't realized this yet, everything is very specific. You do have to be willing to share your personal and your business information for us to actually review. If you don't let us view a credit report, if you don't share your business information, there's no way that we could actually qualify you for what you're potentially looking for, right? So, want to make sure that you have the best experience. I have tried to answer and clarify everything about how to position yourself, how to access capital, understanding the process to do this. I try to make it as simple as possible, but of course, there still may be some questions. So I do have about 15 or 20 minutes for Q&A. So I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen. If you have questions, just do me a favor. In the beginning, keep it to 1 or 2 questions max at first. Let's make sure to get through everyone raising hands. If at the end, if you still have additional questions and there's not any other hands raised, then of course you can get back in line. But we do just want to be mindful of everyone's time and getting through this as fast as possible. So the raise a hand feature, you should know how to do it. If you don't, at the bottom, there is a react button. You can click that. There is a raise hand feature, and we will be able to get you in line. So there are currently 2 hands raised. I am looking at, it looks like Mona Turner. If you'll go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. My question is, can you just say that one more time? When you get the email, watch the videos, right? And just wait for the call, the Zoom call
That
when
is
you
correct.
schedule.
That is
Okay,
correct.
so where it's a link to call, you don't touch that right now.
Not
Okay,
yet. You will
awesome.
get congratulations for booking your call. So that will just be the date and time. You'll just save that email. You can click on that. You will also get a other email reminders before the call as well too. So those links will be in those
Awesome.
emails as well too.
Okay, and my last question is, this is strictly for LLC, not trust, right?
Correct. For the way that
Okay.
we teach. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you. You have a blessed one.
Of course. You too, Mona. All right. Looks like Andy Gonzalez is next. You can go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, so I already have several aged companies and I have credit cards for all of them. And I know certain people can take money out of their credit cards to use for, say, purchasing real estate. What is the cost for that? And do you do that service?
We do. So what it's called is liquidation. We don't
Okay.
actually do that service ourselves. We do have resources that can do that service. Typical resources to do it in a safe way, and that is a pretty safe strategy for a lot of what real estate investors will do. Typical liquidation industry standard for liquidation companies is about 6% of the liquidated amount. That's typically
Okay.
like industry standard. The other way, just to give you a strategy, just in case you have these resources. Another strategy that some people will do. It's just an option. I'm not telling you to do it or that you have to do. I'm just giving you the option. If you have a business, let's say you have a friend and they run a business and you trust them, you could. I've seen business owners in the past. They'll talk to their business. They'll talk to their business friend. their business friend will, send them an invoice. They would use the credit card to pay the invoice. Obviously, you want to do that with someone you trust. Then in that scenario, when their friend got access to the money, it would settle and then they would, send it to them. That's ultimately how liquidation companies work. There's just different merchant, different processes to do it. But that is typically how people will, liquidate those cards.
Thanks.
Of course. All right. It looks like Patricia Williams is up next.
Hello, Mr. Dorsey.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you so much for all of that wonderful information. I've just got two questions.
Okay.
Would it be my choice to decide whether I wanted an LLC or a C Corp, or is that something that once you look at the picture overall, that you decide?
So that's something you decide. There are
Okay.
pros and cons to LLCs versus corporations. And then there's pros and cons to S Corps or C Corps. Now, very important, I just want to clarify here, we don't give tax advice. And the reason I say that is because an LLC or a corporation is the entity, but the S Corp or C Corp is a tax classification. So
Okay.
your tax, we don't do taxes. Taxes is going to be based on your particular scenario. We just look at the structure of the LLC or the corporation and help you understand how to actually structure that to position it for funding. I'll say generally for most people, I'm not saying this for you, but generally, at least in the beginning, the standard or most common entity is the LLC. I don't know, your particular scenario, but that is generally what most people would do.
Okay, and when you're functioning in that, when you're helping the individual, does the LLC stay outside of the trust, or is
Typically,
it
so
operating within the trust?
either way, that's going to be dependent upon whether you want the trust to, control the entity and then you do it that way, or whether you want to, really convey those kind of assets over. There's not really a right or wrong way. It's just going to be really personal preference. If you do it straight through the trust, you will just have to have a little bit more. So I talked earlier about an operating agreement.
Yeah.
An operating agreement is really an internal document that outlines who has power to do what. If you do have the trust control the entity, you will need that operating agreement because, again, your trust is not on public record. So your trust is not going to be easily verifiable. You're going to need that operating agreement in order to verify that you have authority to conduct business on behalf of the trust. So it's just a little bit more documentation.
One last question. When you
Sure.
get the picture of the credit report, anything that has to be done with that, does your organization do that, or is that the responsibility of the individual?
So there's phenomenal questions. So there's two ways. We look at it. If there's anything if it's fundable and it just needs a couple edits like optimization, we'll go ahead, bring you on, and we'll coach you through that. Now, one thing we don't do is if there's collections or like charge-offs or late payments within like the last year, we don't offer that service as a done for you service. The solution to that is we have a trusted partner. If that's the case, we will review it from a funding standpoint. We'll give you a full audit of that information, and then we'll give you the contact for our credit repair partner. If you have to go over to them, they have a paid service. We do offer like a DIY educational platform. If you do want to learn how to do it yourself, we do provide like educational content like that. But if you want someone to do the service, then we just outsource to our, partner.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're
Great
very welcome.
information.
Awesome. It looks like Mr. Rudy Pena, looks like you have your hand raised. You can go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hey, Brian. So I think you might have just answered it, but as far as to the operating agreement, so I spoke to the SBA last week in regards to opening a business and asked if they had anything like for minorities, like for my wife or, and we spoke for a while and he ended up giving me the contact information to a lady from Lift Fund. I don't know if you've heard of them, that they supposedly can lend over 300,000. She hasn't called me back, but my question is, I asked him and he didn't know, and I kind of figured that if I go ahead and put everything into the trust, it's going to take us out of the public, and we have not been doing business. We had a restaurant years back, and fitness and other stuff, and we completely left all that. So my question is, should I wait to do the trust and try to get funded, or do we put everything in the trust? Because I don't know if Live Fund will have, like, say, hey, well, you're new, you're like a baby, you don't have anything. You know what I mean?
Understood.
Do you know what I'm asking?
Yes. So let me clarify here. So Lift Fund is a lender that we do have relationships with Lift Fund. Lift Fund is something that is called a CDFI. So there's different ranges of financial lenders. A CDFI is a community development financial institution. So for those kind of entities or those kind of lending institutions specifically, they are community focused for the public. So if you're going to use CDFIs, you are absolutely going to have to be in the public as a registered verifiable entity, because that's where those lenders are focused on, is a certain community or a certain mission. So if you're going to use CDFIs, absolutely, you're going to need to be in the public. For other entities, it just kind of goes back to best practice. The easier you are to be verified, the better results you're going to have. So again, I typically like to operate within public entities, get the funding under the public entities, acquire the assets, and then convey those assets to the trust. I'm not saying that that's, what you need to do. I'm just saying that that's what I do personally, and what I find to be the path of least resistance in order, to get these kind of strategies done.
Should I ask her still, or just do what you're saying? Because I was actually thinking of just doing it and then put it that way. I don't have to make any agreements, or sometimes they're going to want something in collateral.
Yeah.
And he did say, he's like, well, they might ask you to open up, because we thought about like a washateria, right? And he's like, they might ask you to open up in a city that's like really bad, and you have to follow their guidelines.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it's worth a shot just to talk to her, but yes, like you said, it depends. If we want something, they might tell us, we want you to open specifically here, and if not, we won't lend to you.
Yeah.
So,
again,
okay.
And that's because those are the CDFIs. So like CDFIs, it has to be public, and like I said, they're focused on certain communities or like certain areas, bringing business or growth to those areas. So it's not like that with every CDFI, but yes, that is a very, very common practice, and why you really want to be public if you're dealing with CDFIs, because they are focused on the public community.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you so much, and amazing information you gave.
Awesome.
My wife and I had done the whole Dave Ramsey years back, and we have to get away from that, because hey, we got to get some funding somehow.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Awesome. You're very welcome. Glad to help. As of currently, I've got like 4, maybe 5 more minutes. If anyone has any other questions, I don't see any other hands raised. I will check the chat just to see if there was any questions while I was going through. I don't see any questions in the chat. I'll give it like another minute or so just to see if anybody has any questions. Christina, 7 Ways, I do appreciate you as always. Thank you so much. I hope that everyone has found this valuable. I want you to take action, whether, like I said, you're going to do this yourself, or whether, like you said, you want our team to look at where you're at and in order to facilitate those deals. I do see one other question in the chat. Charles Mitchell says, I have a question. I'll let you go ahead and ask your question, and then I will prepare to get ready. So let's see. I'm watching the chat.
I don't know if this is working. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yep, I can hear you. Charles Mitchell, what's going on?
All right, so I just clicked the link, and it took me to I think an identity website. I signed up for it for a thing. I was trying to download my 3 credit reports. So I don't know if it's, I actually set up a meeting tomorrow at 1:30. Okay. So I think I downloaded my credit reports. I don't know how, I'm not tech savvy. So it took me somewhere to add all these offers, and I don't know if I'm doing it right. So maybe tomorrow y'all could probably help me out with it. But tomorrow 1:30, I think I set up an appointment. So
Perfect.
it
Yep.
wouldn't let me download my three. I don't know. I'm confused. So
So
I'm gonna need some.
So listen, so first of all, the site that you did was Identity IQ. That's how you get your report. Very important. You should have gotten an email. In the email that you've gotten after you book that appointment, there's some videos in there. In there, I walk you through step by step. You want to skip all of those offers. You don't need any of those offers. And then in that video, it will actually walk you through how to actually download your report, because in the portal, it says like download, but if you click the download button, it downloads it as an HTML file, and that's not what you want. So I walk you through how to print it, and then you save it as a PDF document to your computer.
Okay, I already did it with freecreditreport.com, all three of mine. But I just got
Okay.
to figure out how to send it to you. But I might have to
Okay.
cancel that subscription because I thought it was part of your program. So I don't I don't know. But I'll probably
So
cancel it, but I already have it.
okay, yeah, so perfect. So they're a they're a very popular site. They're a very trusted site for credit, for accessing credit reports. We use them. We highly suggest them, but they're not, we are not affiliated with them. That's not who we are. We just, we just use their platform in order to access the reports. But yes, someone from our team, whenever you meet with them tomorrow, they will be able to walk you through how to access it, log in, all of that, and be able to download all of your reports.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, my brother.
Of course. All right. Yeah, I got like 30 seconds. I'll give anyone just a last question, just in case anyone has anything extra. I will check the chat. I don't see any hands raised. Okay, perfect. Well, 7 ways, Christina, I do appreciate you guys as always. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, like I said, the team is great. We would love to facilitate you. Would love to see all of the results and work with you to get you where you're trying to go and figure out your first steps to get funded. So with that being said, I appreciate all of you. I wish you many blessings, a lot of value. You are in a great community with Christina and 7 Ways. And with that being said, I am out of here and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Thank you. That was really awesome.
Thank you, Brian.
What did you guys think about Brian's session?
Awesome.
Incredible.
That was incredible. I'm telling you, God, I learned so much. That was the first time I really sat and just attentively listened. It was incredible.
I agree. I agree. It was just, he's a wealth of information. So I love it when he comes on and he just pours into the community. So we love you so much, Brian. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to continue on with Q&A. So do you guys have any questions based off of the information that I went over today? So today I went over how to apply for the EIN for the business trust. I went over a list of banks, banking procedures, operations, how to have a board meeting, and how to document how much you're going to fund the trust with. So that I know is a lot of information in itself, and I want to be able to answer all of your questions. So with that being said, the first hand that I see is Joy.
Hello.
Hi, Joy. How are you?
Well, how are you doing?
I'm great.
Good. I have one question. I already kind of know the answer, but you never know. I wanted to know, let's say you get a personal check, but you want to put in the trust. But let's say, is there any way we could put like a part of our indenture where say we could place a personal check into the trust, or do we have to deposit into our account and then pay from our personal account? I mean, then pay the trust from our personal account through a check.
That's a great question. So yeah, you are able to endorse that check to the trust. So you would do that through the bank. And then if you want to consider it as a loan, then you would be able to fill out the promissory note
So it would be a loan.
if you would like to.
Like, let's say, for instance, I got a check that just says my name, and instead of just putting my personal account, can I just put in my trust account instead? If I
So
put it,
the
if I have it, I'm sorry.
the answer is yes, you can endorse any check to the trust.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all.
You're welcome. All righty. Next we have Mona.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Christina. Quick question. Just on the iPostal address, when you order that, do you put your personal information or you put the trust information?
So you're going to set up the second tier, which is for like a business or an entity. The account is going to be under the trust, but they do need to verify your identification because it's forwarding mail from USPS. So they need a human person behind it. So you're going to have to provide your name and you're going to have to notarize that you're authorizing iPostal One to receive mail on your behalf because it's through USPS.
Okay, so because it got three tiers, the 19.99, 39, 49, something like that. And when you order it, you put the trust information, but it'll ask
Yes.
for authorized user.
Yeah, so yes, they are. So there's a form that you're gonna have to notarize, and when you set up the account, you're gonna set it up as a business, like for an entity, not as a person. So there's a difference between the two accounts.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next we have Malachi.
I get so nervous. I don't know why. So my wife, I'm trying to figure out what position can I put her in inside of one or all of the trust, and
So
yeah.
typically, I will tell you that spouses are co-trustees.
Okay. I thought you said she couldn't be a co-trustee. I'm sorry, I probably misunderstood yesterday.
So what I told you asked me the question about the grantor.
Oh,
And
that's
I,
right. Okay, yeah,
yes, sir.
yeah. Okay. So,
Okay.
can the address be so on my ID, I have an address that's uh, not normal. It's like a general delivery address. Um, and I'm thinking, well, you said you have to have an address, everything got to match up. So it's like, do I use one of the virtual addresses for my ID now? Do I need to go back to the DMV, get another ID, put the address, one of these addresses that I got from iPost? I mean, I got another, I didn't do iPostal, I did another one.
Okay, so that's an
Do I use
excellent
that address?
that's an excellent
Yeah,
question. So what I need you to realize is that you are not the trust and the trust is not you. So your
right.
address is your address, the trust address is the trust address. So if you obtained a virtual address, you obtained it for the trust, not for you. So you should not be making any changes to your driver's license or your address. And it's a good thing that your address is different from the trust address. So it sounds like you've done it the right way and don't change anything.
So I wanted to also continue on with that one. It's like, so I got general delivery in a city. It says Gen Dale, so I mean general delivery. Then it has slash Vacaville, and then so I don't have an address on my ID at all because I got stopped by the cops like about 3, 4 weeks ago, and I only got a ticket, and he couldn't get joined. He couldn't get legal joinder because there's no address on the ID. But I know you guys was like, yo, you need an address to match up all across the board. And I, of
That's
course, right now,
that's for funding. So that's specifically for funding. And if you do want to obtain funding, then you got to fall in line.
okay, so if I wanted to get funding, I would have to change that address on my driver because I don't have a home address per se because we're like on the road and we've been on the road since like COVID. We've been running and we trying to land somewhere and get somewhere like to go to, a place or whatnot. And I'm just kind of confused on how I should do that. That's the best way I should do it because I want everything to match up and
So let
you
me
know.
ask you a question. Have you faced any challenges with the bank so far with the current status of your identification?
No, I haven't even dealt with the banks. The thing about it, I haven't even attempted to go to the bank yet because I don't want to go up in there and be, wrong, wrong in my the way I'm trying to move.
Okay.
So,
So what I would recommend is for you to book a call with Brian and his team so that they can provide more clarity because the way that your current identification is, I don't know if it's hindering you from anything, and it could potentially be a challenge for you at the bank. But Brian and his team, they have a lot of banking relationships, and he'll be able to provide clarity.
okay. Okay. And I'll just come back and ask another question before it's over. I got some more, so I'll let
Yeah.
somebody else. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. You're welcome. All right. Next, we have Najma. Hey, Najma.
Hey, Christina, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
You know I'm fantastic.
Fantastic, Najma.
I love this. I have a couple of questions. They all center around when you were talking about the domicile state for the trust versus the bank. Does the bank have to be, or the or the if you said if you use Truist or Fidelity, well, I think they're online, correct? They're both online. My
Fidelity
question
is
is,
online. Truist, you can begin online, but you have to end in the branch. And so that's why Truist has to be, you have to have a local one near you.
my question is, say for instance, I decide to do the trust in one of the more trust friendly states like Wyoming you mentioned yesterday, or even Delaware or Nevada. Does the bank have to be in the same domicile state as the trust?
It doesn't.
Okay. Um, the other question in regards to you get your grant for, they have to put their information on for the EIN for IRS. Will that affect anything with them personally with IRS as far as their Social Security number information?
Yeah, it does not.
Mhm. That's it. I'm looking at my notes.
All right.
I write my questions down so I don't forget them, Christina.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
Hint,
That's
hint,
what
hint.
that's what I recommend that you guys do because I'm just going, 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 going. I don't want you to forget. So it's good that you write everything down so that when Q&A starts, you can ask.
That's it for me. Thank you, Christina. Have a blessed one.
You too. God bless you, Najma. Thank you. All right, next we have Crystal.
Hi, Christina. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Crystal?
I'm good. Okay, so I did miss a couple of the days, but if you could refresh my memory, um, I remember you mentioned that the we can't have an entity as a grantor. Can you kind of walk us through that one more time? Um, I don't remember exactly what you said,
So
or if
what I
that's
said
correct.
So what I said was that a grantor can be either an entity or a natural person, but they still have irrevocability. So, for example, if you have like an LLC, right? And I wouldn't say that it's your LLC. Maybe it belongs to a sibling, or maybe you are a partner in it. Then you can list that LLC as the grantor, but you would not be able to sign as the grantor and the first trustee. So if you have a partner who's on that LLC, then they can sign as the grantor, but the LLC still has irrevocability. So no power, no control, and cannot benefit directly from the trust.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. One more
Well,
question. Okay, so my son is going to be a co-trustee with me, right? Um, he is, you know, he's of course over 18, but I was thinking about getting my sister to be a successor. Would if something were to happen to me, would he be the first trustee and then she would be the co-trustee, or would she be the number one trustee?
So it only depends on what the minimum number of trustees is for your specific trust. So if you only have it as one, then he will be the trustee. If you have it as two, then she would come in as the first trustee, and then he would still remain as the co-trustee.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. And one more question. Can the grantor attend any of the meetings, like the board meetings or anything like that? Maybe like as a witness?
Yes,
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
you're welcome, Crystal. All right, next we have Tosh. Hey, Tosh.
Hi, I was calling. I wanted to know if you just mentioned that a grantor could be an LLC. So how does that really work? Or just don't even go there?
That's a great question. So it's exactly what I just explained, right? Where instead of you appointing a natural person, you would appoint a entity. So for for the grantor and the trustee and beneficiaries, all three of those appointments or positions can have a entity or a natural person. So it's not just only the grantor. The trustee can also be an LLC, or the beneficiary can also be an LLC. So it's not just only the grantor, and it's no different than putting a natural person. So it's the same thing. So all of the terms, the conditions, the duties are still the same.
And also, I know when you were talking about funding, so we would be our personal guarantor, correct? If our
So the
entity is
way
not.
That's a great question. So the way that Brian and his team structure the funding, they utilize you as a personal guarantor.
Okay. And then also the last question, I wanted to know, would it be wise to create a trust ID for ourselves when we're like conducting business in terms of the banking items or anything like that?
So what do you mean by a trust ID?
Like instead of having a regular driver's license, I'm thinking more in terms of like a structure. Having an ID saying that I am like not an associate, but I'm
So
affiliated with the trust.
yeah, so kind of like if you were like an employee at a job and you had an identification for it. Yeah, that
Mhm.
sounds great. There's no restrictions. So there's no restrictions on how you want to operate the entity. So if you would like to do that, that sounds great.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome, Tosh. All right, next we have Miss Shannon. How are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm just off camera because I'm at work and making some calls, but I just always
Yes,
wanted to
thank you for joining us while you're at work.
thanks. Yes, I always have a listening ear, even if I don't say anything.
Great.
As you know, I've been in this community since it's almost a year now, since March 25. And
Wow.
I just wanted to say that, Christina, you and your team, all of your master trainers, I know you're listening to us because I see how the presentations change, right? And they get better and better. So that's why it's always important now that you're part of the trustee community to always attend, right? As much as you can, because you're always coming back with these, extra nuggets to add to your knowledge base, right? And you focus on us, you listen to our concerns, you tweak your presentation, you add to your presentation, and that goes to all of the presenters that come on to this webinar. You're about growing. As an individual, you give us strategies regarding our trust as well as our finances. You provide information and you support us to so that we can improve our legacy for our family, right? You give us access to the funding and to be strategic in that. And also with the tax guide, you show us how to continue to circulate our funds, to hold on to our funds, to have everything work together so that it stays within our trusts. And you show us how to do that legally with the tax process. And it helps us to be a better person in our community and to just help the communities that we serve, right? So I just needed to say that today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shannon. I appreciate you so, so, so much. Thank you for being a part of the community, and thank you for reminding everyone that we have lifetime access and how important it is for us to come back, because we are learning new things every single time. Like, a lot of people don't think that they'll walk away with learning one more new thing, but they really will. So I appreciate you so, so, so much, Miss Shannon. Like, I just appreciate you being a valued member of the community, because it's important. And so that input and feedback is so important for us. And we try to just improve our processes as much as possible, as much as possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Next we have Devon. Did I say it right? Is it Dev? Is it Devion?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Christine, how you doing today?
I'm great. How do I say your name? Is it Devion or Devon?
Yeah, Davion.
Devion. Okay.
Yep, yep.
How are you?
Hey, so just going back off of what she was saying as well, like, man, I've learned so much. I've only been here for like 7 days, and I'm just learning so much. And I've spent money on other courses that have my wife looking at me like, I told you they were those kind of people. And you know what I mean? So then I was like, hey, this is lady, Christina, she breaks everything down real clear, and you know what I mean? It sounds amazing. And I wanna do this one. And she's like, oh, another one. You know what I mean? So but from what we've both seen is that like you're extremely genuine. And I know you hear this a lot, but I just wanted to tell you that me and my family, we definitely appreciate you. And the fact that like inside of the portal that you have all of the Q&As in there, so that you can go way back to the dates and hear other questions that weren't asked in your Q&A. I was like, yo, she is super intelligent with that. Because like you knew the questions that we were going to have, that you can go back and ask those questions. I was like, yo, this is awesome. And I feel like with the other programs, that I've been involved in, it's like I almost feel like, and it's sad to say, and almost feel like it's geared towards like the fish line thing, how you keep the fish coming towards you, but it's like it's almost like they don't want you to get it, because the longer you stay with the program and keep spending money, they profit and you never do. You got to keep it. It basically makes you dependent. But I don't get that with your program. I get that you're really trying to help families. I think that you really care about people, and I really I wish I had better words, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you so much. And it is absolutely true. I just want to deliver as much value as humanly possible. If I could take everything out of my brain and just download it right into your brain, I would love that. There's so much more that I would love to just pour into you guys and give you and teach you. So there's things that are coming soon. So that's why it's so important that you have lifetime access. My team and other individuals, they're like, no, you need to take that away. Like, just only give it to them for a year or 6 months. And I'm like, no, They need to be with me for life, and they need to be with their fellow trustees for life. So we just want to impact as many lives as possible. So thank you so much for realizing that we are here to help and that we don't gatekeep and that we want to give you everything and everything up front because we want you to be successful. Because trust is not easy. Operating an entity, even business, LLCs, corporate, all of that, none of that stuff is easy. So if we can make the process seamless for you and then just have it easily digestible for you to be able to understand it and then just give you the whole process from A to Z, like we've done our job. But I will tell you that all of this comes from God. So the fact that you say, oh, I could tell that you're genuine and stuff, it's like, yeah, I'm genuine, but I'm on an assignment because God gave it to me, right? Because God downloaded it in my spirit when I was praying on my knees and told me to share trust with people. And I'm having conversations with God, like, are you sure? Like, what? So, so I'm on a mission to just help as many families as possible. And I'm just so glad that you took that leap of faith, even with your wife being unsure, and now you get to benefit your wife, your children, and your whole entire family just because like that's what we want to do. We want to impact you in a positive way. And I already know that you and your whole entire family, you're going to be influenced in the right direction. So it took you a leap of faith to be able to come into the Wealthy Trustee program. And I'm so glad that you did. So thank you for betting on me and my team. And thank you for being a part of the community because we want you to be a part of this community.
That means a lot to me, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Now I
Yes.
have
You have a
just
question? Yeah.
yeah, so I'll run through them real quick. Okay, so if I have my wife down as the co-trustee, it's
Yes.
asking for address. What address do I put there? Do I put
You put her address. You put her address. So the thing is that this is private documents, right? So you're listing her. So she needs to be listed on the certificate of trust. So you need to put her name there under trustee. You need to create a signature line for her so that she can execute it alongside you. And then you need to add her to the administrative contact information, put her name, address, and phone number. Now, that administrative contact form, you're not going to be exposing that to anyone. So that is internal documentation that is going to be kept private.
Okay, got you. And then with some people choosing to use Wyoming as their state, I went onto Google. I know I shouldn't have because sometimes it confuses you more. But how it says that you have to prove residency, but I keep hearing you say you are not the trust and the trust is not you.
That's
So
correct.
you have
Yeah. Yeah, and then you
to,
have to understand that that is for statutory trust. You don't have a statutory trust. So statutory trusts are very specific, right? Where you're putting all the state statutes and codes inside of it. So what your trust needs is to be domiciled in Wyoming.
okay, and God forbid, and I don't have to prove any type of residency because it's not me, it's the trust.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of people. So this is just the beginning. So give yourself grace because a lot of us, we still think that it's us. And it's going to take some time for you to see that you are separated from this entity. So a lot, like for example, if you put your house into the trust, a lot of people still think and talk and act like they own the house.
You don't.
The trust owns the house. So you need to talk, act, be, and think like the trust owns the house. So they're like, yeah, no, that house is not yours.
Yeah, because I was like, man, so what if God forbid they call us, call the trust in the court? Am I gonna have to go to Wyoming? You know
You
what I mean?
do.
But
You
do.
do. You do. Yes, you do.
I mean,
So why, yes, if the trust goes to court, not if you go to court, if the trust goes to court, the trust is domiciled in Wyoming. So the court proceedings have to be carried out there because that's the trust residency, right?
Okay, so that's the decision making part right there. One of the decision making parts right there. That makes sense.
That is the number one decision of why you are choosing whichever state as your domicile.
Okay.
Is where
And
do you want litigation proceedings to be carried out?
understood. And then on the Schedule B, I'm going a little back here. Me and my family were trying to create a family production business with content and things like that, books and music and things like that. So would that be put into the Schedule B, even though I haven't created it as an actual LLC? Like you can operate it out of the trust, that name, whatever it may be. Would that go into the Schedule B, or is the Schedule B just for the LLCs that you have currently to put into there?
So, okay, can you explain to me what it is? Is it intellectual property?
Yes.
Yes, intellectual property is an asset that goes into the trust.
Okay,
So
but
it's not an entity. That's correct. Is that correct? What you're describing?
We haven't created an official name for our family business, but we have intellectual property that we've created, and we wanted to house it under a business name so we can, do business. And I was
Yes.
wondering if it go inside of the Schedule B, even though I
Yeah.
haven't, made it an LLC or anything like that.
It doesn't have to be an LLC. Are you going to operate it under the unincorporated business trust?
I didn't know if I should do it under the family or the unincorporated business trust.
You said family business.
Okay.
All business activity should go under the business trust.
And not the family trust.
Family is personal. Everything personal. Everything personal.
Okay.
Nothing business related is associated with the family trust.
Understood. And then my last question, at work, sorry. The EIN number that you get on the business trust, you need to have that before you get it. It can be notarized, right? Have the EIN on there before it can get notarized.
So ideally, yes. The other option is you leave it blank and you write it in. That would be the other option.
Gotcha. All right, that sums up my questions. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Next we have Andy.
Hey, great as usual. I am just the people you attract are so amazing. Yeah, you are an angel, and I know that you're coming, like everyone says, you're coming from this amazing place that just inspires everyone, inspires me. I've been talking to everybody about this, so I got my PayPal account so that I can refer people, and it's not going to be about making money for me, but it's going to be about following up with them and making sure that they do what they're going to do so that they can have the life they want, because everybody should have this, everybody. So thank you.
Thank you,
My question
Andy.
is, yeah. I came across your volunteer list, and I noticed there's a bunch of folks here. So for if like are these legit? I mean, and do you have any
Wait a minute. Why would it not be legit?
I don't. So, okay, I guess my question is this. My big question is, if we pick someone from here to be a grantor, are they really going to give us their social security numbers and address?
No, they're going to apply for the EIN for you. So it depends on the type of relationship, but yes, people from our grantors list will serve as your grantor, and I'm a witness. So is it legit? Absolutely. They would not have volunteered if they were not willing to do this. Do you know that we didn't make this list up? We asked people to volunteer because there are individuals that are in our community that they are totally by themselves, right? They're totally by themselves, or they're in a position where they're adopted, or they have no family, everyone is deceased, and it's just them. And they're like, I can't find a board. I can't find a grantor, a co-trustee. So yeah, they go to the volunteer list. Yes, it's
That is
real.
so beautiful. That is
Yeah,
so,
one day,
so
maybe
beautiful.
you will volunteer one day. Do
You bet.
you know how many of our community members that I personally said, because I heard their story, I was like, okay, I will help you out. And so a lot of people in the beginning, which was many years ago, like a lot of people were like, Christina, I don't have a grantor. Can you be my grantor? I'm like, I cannot be everybody's grantor, right? So
Yeah.
that's what made us create the volunteer list, because people genuinely cannot find board members. They genuinely cannot find a grantor. So because there's a lot of people that they don't understand what an irrevocable trust is, or they're just too afraid, right? And so it's like, okay, well, we have in this community, we have what you call a circle of trust, right? Which is a circle of people. These are trustees that you can actually like do life with them, right? So that means I trust you, you trust me. So I will be your grantor and you be my grantor. And that's what our community members have done. And so that's what made us create the volunteer list. It was created out of a demand. So everything there is accurate. There are people there that in our community that they're like, I don't want to be a notary anymore. Okay, we remove you from the list, right? I don't want to be a grantor anymore. Okay, we remove you from the list, right? So it's the most accurate, up-to-date list. And it is highly utilized. It's not only by you, Andy. A lot of people use it.
That is awesome. But there's a ton. Like for grantors, there's over 100. How do
Yeah,
I
we have
know
we have
contact?
thousands. We have thousands of people in our community. Thousands.
Well, so
Yeah.
just go down the list with somebody, just pick someone
Yeah.
randomly, kind of, or
Yeah, but obviously you're going to have to contact them. You're going to have to communicate with them. But the best thing is that they already know what their duties are. So they already know to the extent of what they need to help you with. So they're going to provide you with their name, and then you give them the trust information, and they'll go ahead and apply for the EIN for you. And then they'll wait for you to provide them with the forms that they have to execute and notarize.
wow. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, listen, this is a hard process that we're trying to make easy and seamless. And like even who was Shannon, even Shannon mentioned it. She said that we're always trying to improve. So obviously in the beginning, many years ago, we didn't have a volunteer list, but it was created out of a demand, right? We
Hmm.
have a Q&A knowledge base now that we created last year. It was created out of demand because you guys tell us what you need and we create it and provide it for you.
Awesome.
Yeah. So stick
All
around,
right.
Andy. This is just your first
Nice.
roll.
Yes, I will be.
Stick around. And you know what? So Andy mentioned one thing that I do want to bring up. So Andy has just become an affiliate. So we have an affiliate program. And in our affiliate program, you can sign up. All we need is your name, your PayPal account, and I don't know, maybe your phone number or your email. I can't remember what it is. And then you can become an affiliate, and we give you an affiliate link. And if you want to refer our program to your friends and family, you can do that. You can just give them the affiliate link. You'll get credit once they enroll into the program. So we give you guys a 20% commission off of every single person that enrolls, based off of your like referrals. So it's a win-win situation for both of us. And if you guys are interested, the link should be available in your dashboard. So thank you so much, Andy, for bringing that up and for being an affiliate. I really, really, really appreciate it.
It's all my pleasure, let me tell you. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so next we're moving on to Mark. Mark, are you available? I cannot find you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Just fine, just fine. I have a question. My
Yes,
wife and
sir.
I are both retired, and we're both on different municipal pensions. Can we have the municipal pensions attached to the family trust?
That's a great question. So unfortunately, pensions are personal and they cannot go into the family trust. Like there's no way
That's
for you
unfortunate.
to, yes, it surely is. It is unfortunate, but it's also intentional. So they don't want you to be able to put your pension into a trust.
Okay. Well, while I got you here, I'd like to thank you for introducing us to Jeff Badu. He's been amazing, strictly amazing. And we look forward to dealing, having an ongoing uh, activity with him in the future because he's done great things for us in our tax situation.
I absolutely love that. Thank you, Mr. Jefferson, for saying that. I know that Jeff, he's one of the best in the business. And he has also mentored some of the top CPAs in this country. So he is highly reputable, and that's why he's a part of this program. He's the number one person that we have when it's dealing with trust taxes and all entities, to be exact, right? So I am so glad that you decided to reach out to him and get the assistance that you need, because he is really like a wealth of information, and his team too. So thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. Next we have Rudy. Hey, Rudy. Where's the
Hey,
thumbs up?
hello.
Where's the
Hello,
thumbs
hello.
up? There we go. Hello. Rudy's
Hello,
here.
hello. Um, okay, so I have a few questions. The first one was yesterday I told my wife about being the co-trustee versus the successor. And she started laughing, but as far as that she can get somebody if I pass, right? But my question is, if I put her down as the co-trustee and then I put a successor, and let's say I pass, how that successor can make her the new trustee, like, and then she takes them away and then put somebody new, or do you know what I mean? Like,
So if I understand your question clearly, so what happens is if you're the first trustee, she's the second trustee, and then you transition, she becomes the first trustee. And then the successor is still going to be on hold. So as long as inside of your trust, yeah, so as long as inside of your trust, it shows that the minimum number is 1. If the minimum number is 2, then that's a whole nother process.
okay, so I thought that if I pass, then she cannot be the trustee because the successor has to be the trustee. So
Yeah, no.
she comes up.
Right. So there's something inside of the trust called tenure. And with
Okay.
tenure, it means that if there is a vacant position, the person who currently holds a like a lower level will move up. So the
Okay.
second will move up to the first, the third will move up to the second.
Okay. Okay. Now I feel a lot better because I was like, okay, what's the whole point of her being the co-trustee if the success is going to be like bump her out? You know what I mean? It just wasn't making sense. So thank you. Okay.
You're
This
welcome.
might be kind of because the kids are here, DUMB, but what is the difference between the portal and the dashboard? Like,
Oh, wait, okay. So when you log in to it's a big difference. Okay, so Rudy, you've been here for a minute. Okay, so we just rolled out with the dashboard. When was that? February was the first time, and now we're in March or April. Wait, I'm confused. Was it February or March? I can't remember. The dashboard, we've been using it for 2 months now. I think this is the second month or the third. I can't even remember. I have too much in my brain. Anyways,
the
so
new one,
you
the green one, right? The
yeah,
green that goes.
so you were here before we came up with the dashboard. So the dashboard is for our people that are on the workshop, for you to be able to find everything that you need for the workshop in one setting.
Okay.
Everything that's in the dashboard is also inside of the portal, but the portal has all of the training. So the dashboard doesn't have any training in it, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Yes.
the portal is where you have your 43 video modules, where you have your resources and your ebooks, right? The dashboard is where you have all of the links and resources for the workshop. So dashboard is only for the workshop.
Okay. By the way, it looks amazing, the new dashboard. It's easy to navigate and everything. And for some reason, I thought the dashboard had eliminated the portal. So I kept hearing, and I'm like, I haven't gone through it all the way, but I thought, oh, okay, the training video should be in the dashboard. But I didn't know which one was which. So I was like, okay, all right. And then this question is just a personal question. Like when you first found out about this, I remember you saying how you were a nurse and then you went into like the real estate and learning in that program, and then that guy mentored you, or you asked to be mentored. Was it a lot for you? Were you like I'm guessing you hadn't heard of that before. Was like,
No.
do you know what I mean? Like,
it was all
it was a
new.
lot.
It was all new for me. It was all brand new. So when I became a trustee, I was 25 years old. So this was in 2015. So this was 11 years
Last
ago.
year?
Yeah, you wish. I wish too. Oh my gosh. Yesterday, who was it? I don't know. Somebody was talking about my gray hair. I have gray hair. You see it?
Hey, wisdom. That's wisdom.
I have a lot of wisdom.
Yep.
Listen, I have more gray hair than people that are older than me.
Hey.
So, anyways, yes, this was 11 years ago. I did not know anything. I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anything about trust. I did not know anything. So this was years and years of training, but I believe in mentorship like so much. So much.
Okay.
Like I'm actually about to sign up for another mentor. So did you know that I signed up for a mentor in January to teach me about mobile home investing, because I didn't know anything about it?
With Abdul Shabazz.
Yes, Abdul Shabazz.
He's amazing.
So now I have an opportunity to work with another business mentor, right? Because when you want to get to the next level, you can get to the next level. So I'm about to invest $100,000 into mentorship. Yes.
Wow.
So I believe in it wholeheartedly. And so that individual, he was my first mentor of many. I've had a lot. So yeah, he still is my mentor today, and he still lends me money for real estate. Like I have properties till this day that he has given me the money for.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very I'm all about relationships. I think you could tell though. And so I maintain all of them, and like my mentors, they love me. because I'm like a sponge. I just soak it up. It's like you tell me what to do and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. And do you meet them like when you host like in seminars or like these people like or through acquaintances or it just
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah, just like
Okay.
yeah, like Abdul, I met him at a conference. Like my mentor, I met him at a conference and then he invited me. He's like, "Hey, I have a boot camp." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go to your boot camp." And then from there, like it was history.
Wow.
So,
And
yeah.
all this usually comes from like I'm guessing it wasn't going that good back when you were 25 and through struggle it it got you to dig and
No, it's
learn
just that
more or no?
it's just that I didn't know anything. That's what it was. This was something brand new. So you're asking why I went for mentorship?
Into the real estate. No, like how it all started, you know what I mean? Through something maybe it wasn't going that good and then that led you
Oh,
into
like my life?
as well. Yeah, as
Talking
well,
about my
right?
life? Oh my gosh.
Because it all comes together, you know what I mean? Like I'm
Oh my gosh. Yes, I was struggling. I was struggling. I
okay.
was so like me as a nurse, right? At that point, I was a nurse for 2 years and I was struggling, right? I was working 12-hour shifts, 5, 6 days. I could not even make ends meet. Like I found myself in such a vicious cycle to where every time that I would get paid, I will go to Cash Advance America and I would get a payday loan. And I was
Wow.
stuck like this right in the middle where I'm like, I can't even cover everything. And I was a single mom. I had a 1-year-old baby. My mom was watching my son. And I was like, it was so much. It was overwhelming. It was so much. My first investment in myself was that real estate seminar. And that
Wow.
investment was only $200. That was the first time that I ever invested in myself. Like
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
Like for personal development. Yeah. It
And
and it was it was
you
only
found it or
200.
somebody told you?
No, it was an ad on the radio. It was
Mm,
an ad on the radio. And the way that I am, you tell me something great, I go down the deepest rabbit hole. You cannot take me out. You
yeah.
cannot take me out of the rabbit hole. I'm so deep in it. So it was an ad on the radio. The guy, his name is Stan Merrill. He used to be on this show called Flip This House. So
Mm,
he's like one of these well-known people on the TV, right? And so he's like, come to my seminar. It's a 3-day seminar. So I went, and obviously he wasn't there, right? But the educators that he had there were phenomenal, and I was mind blown. And I actually became addicted to going to conferences. I just
mm.
I just asked one of my business associates today, can we go to this conference? It's 2 days. I don't know what we're gonna learn, but I feel like we're gonna learn a lot. I just begged somebody earlier today. Can we go
Wow.
to this
Wow.
2-day conference? I'm
Wow.
addicted to conferences.
Yeah. To bettering. The only
I
problem is
I
right, like the other
swear,
guy
I
was
swear, I always walk out learning one new thing.
okay. Wow.
Yeah, and it's worth it for me. It's worth it for me
Yeah.
to attend. Like, yes. So yeah, that changed my whole entire life. Imagine if I didn't go.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Be like Christina who?
Right?
Yeah, no, hey, no. Yeah.
No, no.
Wow.
I would still be like a nurse and I would probably still be living paycheck to paycheck, struggling, always with a payday loan. Like, please, like how much? Like the maximum is 500? What? Like,
Yeah.
like they're
And
negotiating.
like the other guy said, sometimes even through going, somebody else said that his wife was mad or kind of like, oh, you're gonna waste money again. I've kind of gone through that too, but by spending money on other people, they said certain things and trust and this and that, but I didn't trust what they were saying 100%. So I got on YouTube and I'm like, I'm gonna find somebody. So I was finding like lawyers and they were only giving you just a little bit. And I'm like, nah, like and then boom, your video pops up. And then I was like, okay, this has to be true. Like, and then I ended up signing up, and yeah. So yeah. So
Right.
thank you for everything.
It was history from there, huh, Rudy?
I usually like hearing people like, I'll ask people, hey, how'd you make it? Or how, that to me is interesting because it's not lavish for everybody. It's a mindset. And my wife has told me years back, she's like, if you would have let me, I would have already made you a millionaire, but I got to get out of myself sometimes. Like,
we do,
you know,
we do.
yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes we have to surrender, and I have been in that place before. So the old me, I wanted to be in control of everything. I'm that type of person. Everything need to be like written down, and I'm like, I don't know, like there's no wiggle room, no flexibility. And now I'm like, I surrender. Like, God,
Yeah.
do what you want here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
And
minute that I
Abdul,
surrendered, I don't have to worry about anything anymore because everything just flows. Like,
yeah.
so do you know that like this business right here, right? 7 Ways to Wealth, it's thriving, and it's thriving because of YouTube, right? And so God was showing me, do the YouTube channel, do the YouTube channel. And me being so like rigid, I was like, no, 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 I'm scared to be on camera. No, no, no. That was me, right? Afraid to be on camera. And then I said, oh, I surrender. Like, because at that point, when I surrendered, my mom already passed, right? So my mom died, and I was like in pieces, devastated. And I said, okay, God, I surrender to you because I don't know what's going on over here. At this point, I thought I had it all figured out. That's when I lost control, right there. When the most important person in my entire existence, my whole life, like I felt like this lady was like obviously she's the reason for my existence, but my mother, like I just wanted to do so much for her, right? I'm the type of person that I'm like, okay, mom, I bought you a brand new mansion, I bought you a car, I didn't get a chance to do any of that stuff. It breaks my heart till this day because I didn't expect her to die, right? She died at 71 years old. They snatched her right away from me. And that's when I figured out I wasn't in control anymore. I was like, what? I thought I was going to see my mom in her 80s. I thought I was going to get her the house and the car. I just needed a little bit more time. What happened? I wasn't in control anymore. God was in control. So I had to surrender. And I said, okay. I said, you know what? Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it.
Wow.
So then I started the YouTube channel, and then you guys popped up.
Wow.
So do you know, Rudy, that God led you to my YouTube channel? Do you know that everything is spiritual? There's an anointing here, right? So like my channel is anointed. All I have to do is just post, and all the right people, the Rudys of the world, are attracted to it.
Yep.
Yes. You know.
Hey, the Most High, he's man. Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
And I've been also kind of, I used to do videos before of cooking, so I need to get back into it. And then, but yeah,
it's powerful. It's powerful. So do you know everything is organic? I don't run ads. I'm gonna start though, but I don't run. Everything is organic. So every single person on this call right now, you did not come on this call because you saw an ad from me, because I don't run ads. You came organically. Why? Because God led you here. That is the truth. That is the truth.
There's a program, if you want, I can tell you about it later, that I took because my wife almost left me at once. And then I said, where are we going?
Oh, no, she didn't. She did not. No, not with those beautiful kids. You know what? We need to sit her down.
She didn't care. She's like, I'm leaving. So I said, where are we going? So that's when I closed the restaurant down, and we moved. But I took a program while I was up in Dallas. When I tell you, it completely changed my life. Like, and then she's like, okay, now we can move back, like where I'm from, right? But there's the way their program is like on a whole nother level. Maybe you'll like it. I don't know.
So what is it about? Is it about ads? Because I want to start running ads today.
Oh, no. Well, this is more
what
on
is it
like
about?
how you. it's called Landmark.
Oh,
Like
I heard of it.
when I tell you the last day, like, because we used to go to church, but the last day when it finally hit, I could feel like spirits just like coming out of people and like people being delivered, and it had nothing to do with like church or nothing. Like people from all walks of life.
Wow, that's
It
beautiful.
it was like on a whole nother level. So
Wow.
I was able to get closure with my dad and just
Yes.
a lot of things. But
A
yeah,
lot of healing. Yes,
yeah,
healing is so necessary. I'm telling you,
yeah.
listen, I'm one of those people, I've gone down a whole rabbit hole dealing with healing. I really
Yep.
have. Especially like
But
grieving.
Hey,
I couldn't even
hey,
grieve.
I did Landmark too. Totally recommend it.
oh,
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
like,
Okay.
hey,
Wait, are you guys telling
Panda
me to do it now?
Panda
Yes.
Express, you cannot
Let me
be
take
a
it.
manager for Panda Express unless you take that program. Like there's places that you cannot work for them unless you do their program.
Really?
It's sad
What
that they
is
don't have it
this?
in person, but
It's
This
called
it is.
information needs to go in the chat.
Huh? They
Oh
said
my
put it in the
God.
chat, Rudy.
I don't make any money.
Yes.
Like, but I also wanted, if you take it, like the way they can be pushy at times, but they have a system of like where you push your business different. Like I was studying it, I'm watching them, and I'm like, okay, trying to learn stuff business wise that ain't got. They don't know they're teaching. Well, they do know, but just anyways.
Alexis said that Rudy is spilling the tea. Yes,
Spill the
he is.
tea.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yes,
Yeah.
he is. But
Give it up,
it's
Rudy.
more for mindset, right? Is it mindset?
Yes, and accountability. So one of the things my wife could never get me on was being accountable. I would always point the finger at somebody. And
Woo!
when I took the program, I told her what it was about and everything, and she'll use keywords that like it's like a trance. Like she uses that word, and it's like, all right, you got me. Yeah, I messed up. And, I mean, and I'll tell her like, why are you using that? She's like, because that's the only way I can get you. Because I got to use Landmark against you. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, she's so
And I'll
smart.
say,
Man,
I'll
I
say,
want to meet her.
when with my second daughter, I'll tell the story really quick. She didn't like me. Like I had a bad attitude. So when I finally took the program, I get to the house, to the apartment, and she was looking at me like weird, like kind of like, who is this man? Like I wasn't saying a single word, and then kind of time passes, and she comes, Daddy, can I have a PB&J? And I'm telling my wife about the program, and then she this is I'm saying it a lot faster, but anyways, she ends up coming to me, and I gave her the food. Then she asked me to clean her, which she would never ask me to clean her because she went to the restroom. Then she finally comes up to me and she says, "Up, Daddy, up, up." So she gets in between my wife and I pick her up, and she gives me this hug, and she says, "I love you, Dawi." I felt like my heart like breaking. The hardness that I had put around my heart for so many years, it broke off at that moment. And it was a year later, she told me I was her best friend, like from not liking me to, so I've, we put in the work, and, but yeah, so now the next level, and then being here, I'm like, okay, I got to do something for them. Cause yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Anyways.
I love that, Rudy. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I love how you're incorporating your whole family. It's just so powerful. It's so powerful. Thank you.
I put the link in the chat.
Oh, thank
okay.
you. Andy put the link in the chat.
But be careful, guys. I'm not gonna lie, they can be pushy at times, but there's a science to it. Like
science, yeah.
In the sense of the way they do stuff. And I'm not saying scientific, like I'm saying a lot of stuff comes out of the Bible, even though they don't say that. But yeah.
Thank you.
Anyways, but thank you for everything, and I love your story. Hopefully one day you can tell us your whole story, and just make that like a masterclass, because it is.
So I recently filmed a short documentary. It's like 25 minutes. And so it just gives you like a snapshot. So I cannot wait to share it with you guys. I think it's going to be available in 6 months.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm excited. My wife, have you heard of Lisa Nichols?
Yes, of course.
Okay. My wife went to go see her and she told her, like my wife talked to her and she told her, unless you fix your relationship, don't plan to take your business anywhere. And like,
Yeah.
cause she was trying to ask about her business but anyway, she's got a way she tells her story. I want to hear yours. So
Ooh,
yeah.
that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yes, that's powerful. I am going to share my story. I don't know how to really share it. It's a lot. It's a
Great.
lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know how to share it, so I just give itty bitty little pieces of it. I'll just sprinkle here, sprinkle there, because in my head, it's like all of this stuff existed and happened and transpired, and I went through it, but I don't know how to bring you guys through the journey from when I was young to, midlife. So, I hired a company to help me pull it out.
Wow.
And they did an exceptional job. So I don't know what the final product is going to look like, but I think what I'm going to do is I think we should have like a block party where we just come on Zoom. Yeah, would you guys like that? You guys come
Like a
off mute.
summit.
Yeah, do you guys want to
Yes,
have a
yes, yes, 100%.
Yeah, I know, but
Let's
I
do
feel like
it.
yeah, I feel like this has turned into a block party. Like, would you guys like for us to just come on Zoom and hang out? Because usually it's
Yeah.
just it's all business. It's all Q&A and what you're gonna learn today, but we never really hang out. Do you guys want to hang out?
Yes.
Yep.
That would be great.
Christina, have you ever thought of doing something annually where people could fly in and
Let's hang
just a
out.
thought?
You know
Yep.
Just a
Yeah.
what?
thought, because I
Like
will
a
fly
summit.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will fly out. That's just me personally, though. I don't know about everybody else.
Yay.
I would.
So what I would like to do is I would like to have an annual trip with everyone. Last year we did Ghana and it's I don't know, like out of I think it was short notice because I told you guys 6 months before. So I think I told you in June and Ghana was in December. So only one person showed up, but it was so powerful though. And we developed a bond and it was the best quality time ever. So I would love to do it again. And if you guys want to come, just let me know because I travel. I travel every other month. And I would like I'm an abroad type of girl. So it's like, hey, let's leave the US. So if you guys want to come, we can come. So I was thinking about us going to Morocco and us probably going back to Ghana. Um, and like some other countries that's on my mind. So if you guys want to travel, I think that we should. A lot of people they want
Let's
to
go
stay
to
in
China
the US. China. I would love to go to China. I would
or
love to.
Thailand.
I would love to go to Thailand. Let's
Buy some,
go.
buy some real
Let's
estate.
go.
Buy some we could kind of shop together or something like that, like for investment homes.
Yes.
They got
Okay. So should we do a poll to see where we should go? Do you guys want to do that?
yeah, why
Are
not?
you
Yeah.
are are you guys okay with traveling in December? Because that was the issue that I found last year is that like we traveled in December and then a lot of people was like, it's Christmas,
Yeah.
like it's a
Plus we
holiday.
If it's not too close to Christmas, I guess.
Say that again, Andy.
I said if it's not too close to Christmas, and the other suggestion I have is some kind of charity thing. Or
Yes, that would be great. Like what? Like a charity event and we turn it into like a gala.
yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that would be great. Okay. So what about this summer? Would you guys travel? If I was to put together a gala, let's just say in July. Would you guys come?
Here in the US
Yes, in the US.
or
Okay.
So I'm based in Atlanta. I know you guys don't know that
Okay.
because I'm very private. So I know you guys don't know that I'm in Atlanta. But Andy's like, I know where she is now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm based in Atlanta. So I think I would do it here in Atlanta because I haven't put together a gala, right? But obviously I will hire a company to put it together. And it would just be more easier for me to just do it where I'm based. So would you
There.
guys come?
Yeah. Especially if it's a weekend, I could probably do that. If it's longer than that,
Yeah.
then I don't know. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
yeah, my
Like a
wife's been wanting to
plan.
travel, so that would be
Yes.
a
I
good
know
reason.
I want to meet her. I want to meet
I want to
her.
meet her too, Christina.
Yes. Yeah. Is there anybody on the call that I've met in person? I don't see anybody. I've met a lot of you guys in person though. Like at events. I had there was like 20 trustees came to Atlanta 2 years ago for a mastermind. And then last year I invited them to the mobile home event and there was about like 6 trustees there. So there's a couple of you guys and then one trustee came to Ghana. So you know what? I'm gonna have the team put something together. So we'll do like a poll to see about the traveling aspect. And then I will have the team do some research and see about us doing a gala. That would be great.
Miss Christina,
This
in all
is
fairness,
oh
you have a hand been up since about 20 minutes. James Johnson been waiting.
I cannot hear
You have-
you.
He has a hand. You have a hand up that's been waiting for about 20 minutes. Raise hand.
Oh, James.
Just,
Hey, James.
just being fair.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I
No,
apologize.
it's, no worries. Y'all having a good time. I was listening. I learned it a lot. Landmark.
yes, you can
Duly
have them,
noted.
Tom.
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Um, so I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, still, so I've been with you for about a year now, and then like I said, well, we talked before. I know you talked to a lot of people you might not remember, but
No,
anyway, I was able to get my.
I have a memory of an elephant. So if you just drop one clue, I promise you.
Okay. We talked last time about trying to set up a bank account for the trust without the guarantor,
Mm-hmm.
without include the guarantor.
Yeah,
So I'm still having issues with that.
yeah.
I've been to several places, and everybody, I've even reached out to like major trust firms here. I'm in the Houston area, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody is basically um, telling me that I'm gonna need the guarantor's information. So um, and in order to set up the bank account, there's no real way around it. So my question is, does anybody know, period, a bank or institution that will allow you to set up your uh, bank account for your trust without the guarantor's information?
I personally do not. I don't.
Okay.
I do know of one person in our entire community that said that they opened up a bank account without a grantor.
Yeah. So this is what happened to me, just a little backstory. So, and it's not like to scare anybody or anything like that, but I went off the grantor list, met someone in my area, and she agreed to be my grantor. guarantor, whatever you call it. And I was her guarantor for her trust. And so we lost contact for whatever reason. She's not answering any of my phone calls. And I only met her a few times just to get the documents
Now
up
I
and
remember.
going.
I remember we spoke about this. Yeah. Now I remember.
Right. So
Yeah.
so I have the trust established, it's notarized and everything, but everywhere I go is asking me for the guaranteed address as well as her social security number, and I have lost complete contact with her, so I'm stuck. So I can't. I have the trust, but I don't. I have things that the trust is actually the beneficiary of several things, but I cannot establish a bank account for it because I don't have her information. And I went by her office, everything. I don't know what the case was, whatever. But we've lost contact, and she's not contacting me back. I don't know what happened. So at this
This
point,
sounds
I'm
like a
stuck with
buzz.
the trust that
This
I can't get a
sounds
bank.
right. Okay. So this sounds like a very bizarre situation. So I would love to speak to you offline because you've never disclosed to me who your grantor is, and I do not want you to disclose that person's name on Zoom, please. I have to contact you. You have to
Okay,
disclose that person's name to
no,
me,
that's fine.
and then I personally am going to reach out. If I cannot get in contact with them, then one, I can find out the bank that our other community member used that they didn't need a grantor, and you can see if you're able to use that bank. If not, then the only alternative is exactly what you're saying. So you're saying I'm stuck with a trust that I cannot open up a bank account for. And now one thing is that a bank account is not required, but I'm pretty sure that you would like to hold trust funds in that bank account. So I completely
Right.
understand. So are you willing to dissolve that trust and then have a new grantor and start a new trust? Like what is is that something that you're willing to do so that you can move forward? Because it sounds like this situation is causing delays. And I apologize. I think that that's a bizarre situation that you have met this person, you have their phone number, you have their office, and they're not, I don't know. I don't know. See, anything could have happened, right? What if this person
Right,
transitioned?
right,
We don't know.
right.
Now, if the person transitioned, then all you need is a death certificate.
But I don't know any of her family. I just met her. So
Yeah, a death certificate is public records.
okay.
Right. So I'm just saying,
Right.
if we don't know, I will tell you that we have had two community members transition. So
Okay.
one of our community members, she transitioned before she was able to finish her trust. The other community member, the son contacted me and he's like, my dad transitioned. And thankfully, everything was already done. Like they have a duplex, it's in the trust. The son told me we avoided probate completely. So,
Good. Good.
so,
Good.
so I don't know if that's the situation, but I would love to assist you. So, um, I'm gonna give you a call. Here, I'm writing it down right now. I'm gonna give you a call so you can disclose that person's name, and then I'm going to contact them personally, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And
I would appreciate that.
yeah, we can go from there just to try to troubleshoot, because the last thing that you want is for you not to utilize your trust. So
Right.
I just want, and I'm sorry that that happened. And whoever this person is, if they are intentionally doing this, then we're going to remove them from the volunteer list, because we don't want your experience to be the same experience, that someone else has. That's not right. So I'm going to personally contact them and just do a little digging to see what's going on. And I just want you to be okay with the fact that maybe you have to dissolve what you have and move forward and, start a new one. But you already have like your electronic version, so it's just going to take you choosing a new grantor and a new name for you to then just get everything executed all over again and start everything all over again.
Pretty much, yeah. So I would like to avoid that, but I mean, if, at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
me too. Me
to
too.
be able to you know, have the trust serve its purpose, if that's what I have to do, unfortunately, then that's what I have to do. So yeah.
I agree with you, James, and so I'm going to step in and I'm going to assist you, okay? And I'm going to make it as inconvenient as the at not inconvenient. So I'll make it as convenient as possible because of your inconvenience.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really would.
You're welcome.
Hey, guess what,
Yeah,
Christina? I'm
Yeah.
on the website at Landmark, and guess what?
What?
There is a live for people of African descent Landmark Forum, July 24th in Atlanta. You don't even have to travel.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my
Uh-huh.
God, that sounds good.
so
You see that? I
so
love
look, really quick.
that.
Stop doing the live
Hey,
ones.
hey,
They had
hey, really quick, y'all, before I get off of here. Christina, do you have all my information so I can, you know, you get in touch with me so we
Well,
can go over that?
I have your name, but hold on, let me look you up. So my system is on the phone, so let me look you up. So
Okay.
one second. I was just gonna go based off your name. Is it not your name on there?
Yeah, my name is on there. My name is
Oh,
also common. I have a common name, so I just want to make sure you have all the correct information to get in touch with me so we can go from there.
okay,
Try to get this resolved.
so the last digits is 8818.
Correct. That's me.
That's who I was gonna look for.
Okay. Just making sure. Just making sure you got all the information before I get off of here, because I'm in between work. So yeah.
I
So I'm gonna
got
have to
you,
leave
James.
soon.
James,
Okay. All right.
as soon as I end the call, I'm gonna call you, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll be looking
You're
forward to it.
welcome. You're
All
welcome.
right.
All
All
right,
right.
next we have Paul, then we have Tony, and then we are going to adjourn because it is 3 o'clock. So let's see, Paul.
All right, there we go. I had muted
Hi,
myself.
Paul. Hi,
How are you
Paul.
doing?
I'm
Hi,
fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing super duper right now, at least for right now. But
Yes,
thank you for taking my call.
absolutely.
And I've been having a few little technicalities and technical issues, and I found out it might be me. But that's another conversation. But I had one of the questions, and I've been listening real close, and I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. It's three of us, me, my wife, and it'll be her sister. And I'm the trustee, my wife the co-trustee, and the sister would be the grantor. And what you just mentioned a little bit ago about the grantor, that's another option now. And my question is, um, when it comes to the secretary and the treasurer,
Yes, sir.
uh, and of course, the beneficiary, there aren't any beneficiaries. So I was considering putting my wife over there as well as a co-trustee and beneficiary. Then we have to fill in the secretary and the treasurer. So what would be some good insight on this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, for your board, it should be anywhere between 2 to 5 people. So the least amount of people involved in a board would be you and one other person. But because you're putting your wife as a co-trustee, then it would be you, your wife, and one other person. And so that's going to consist of your board. Now, with when you are choosing your board, you want to choose people that are qualified to do the task, right? So you have your executive secretary, you have treasurer. So for example, the treasurer, they are dealing with things dealing with financial, right? So they are assisting with banking operations, with paying bills. They are creating a profit and loss statement. They're creating financial reports. They're assisting auditors if you're choosing to audit the documents, things like that. So you want to choose someone who's able to carry out those tasks and who actually qualifies to serve in that position that you're appointing them. So that's what I would have to say about that if you know anyone. So I always personally tell people, choose the people that you know that are qualified. And if you don't have anyone, then you can use our volunteer list to where you can, find someone who will volunteer to serve on your board. So that's one of the challenges that we have found, is that people are like, I'm not sure who can serve on my board. And so that's why they will resort to finding someone on our volunteer list. So does that help clarify? And then another thing is, one thing that you mentioned that I would just want to clarify for you is, you said that your wife is going to be your co-trustee. That's wonderful. But you said you don't have any beneficiaries and you would list her there. She cannot be co-trustee and sole beneficiary. So that means that she cannot have 100% of the units. She can have 99 and someone else has to have the one. And the one person that has the one cannot be a trustee.
Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, you've given me something else to think about. But
Yes, sir.
but other than that, I think you got me on the right track, and the Q&As have been dynamite in addition to the workshops. So I'm going to get off and let somebody else on. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Paul, and thank you for bringing up the Q&As. Our next Q&A is going to be Tuesday at 7. So if you have any other questions that come up between now and then join us at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. You will get an email and a text message with the Zoom link. All right, we have 2 more hands and then we are going to adjourn. So I have Tony.
Yes, Christina, just like the gentleman was talking about with the beneficiaries, I have a couple of questions. So I got myself as the trustee, my wife as the co-trustee, and then my daughter as a beneficiary as well. So I gave each one of us 33.33%. So we all equal. That equals 100. So do you recommend something like that?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So that's good. And so, and then my other question was, if I put my SUV in my family trust, and then I want to get rid of it by being a irrevocable trust, how do I do that? Like, say if I want to sell it or it breaks down or whatever, just if I want to get rid of it, am I able to do that?
Yeah, you're able to remove assets at any point in time. So as long as you're the trustee, so the grantor can't remove the asset, but you can.
Okay, grantor can't, but I can.
Correct.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. That's all I need.
All right. Thank you, Tony. All right.
Thank you.
You're
Let's go to
welcome.
China.
Let's go to China. I know, right? I would love to go to China. Do you guys want to come to China? See, how much notice do I have to give you? That's the issue, because I'm just
Right.
like, I will go to China tomorrow. So it's like, how much notice do I have to give you for you guys to actually come?
Well, it'll be a good thing if everybody was, the people that's doing maybe investing in real estate or something like this, and they want to try to furnish a house or maybe buy some windows and siding and everything like this, because they got places out there you can get everything for your house for like $10,000-$15,000.
I know. I wonder what shipping is like, because I did see online that this woman, I think she's in California, and if she would have bought all of her material in California, it would have been, I think the
Right.
example she gave was like maybe 75,000, but she got
Right.
it in China for
29,000.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
saw the same video. Yeah, she was
I saw that
doing that.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh, I was blown away. You know
yeah.
what?
So
Actually, so I really,
and
really, really want to go to China because they're called capsules. Capsules. They're
right,
like
exactly.
they look like mobile homes. Did you see them, Tony?
Right. Yeah, yeah,
They
of course.
they're capsule. It's like a whole one bedroom apartment, luxury,
Right.
looks like it looks like a hotel. It's a one bedroom apartment and it's like they call it a capsule and
So
it
just
pretty
think
much looks like
if you
a mobile
like
home
they're
and it's
eight
like
thousand they're
exactly
eight thousand
exactly
dollars
like
and everything. So
8,500, 10,000. I'm
yeah,
blown away. I'm still trying to keep my jaw and the
right.
top bottom together. See, I was
So
scared. So the thing is, and I do everything fearlessly, but I'm like, I gotta go to China and touch it and feel it, and then I'll order it.
right, right. So I've been following a few people that actually they source stuff over there as well. So um I've been looking at that because that's affordable housing.
It is
So
oh my God. When I tell you speaking my language,
yeah, yeah, it's
I'm
affordable
all
housing.
about affordable housing.
So if you get into group homes or something like that, and then make a nice little tiny village and everything like this with 1 and 2 bedrooms, and then put
That's what I want to do. Let's
yeah,
do it.
homeless people or
I need to go.
veterans.
I need to go over there and touch it. That's the only thing. That's why I haven't ordered it yet. I need to
Yeah,
go look.
so
Because
So I
in my
looked
head,
into
I was
that.
thinking if I order it and then it don't come, are they not going to ship the capsule?
right.
The only thing
What?
you have to be concerned about is building codes. So if it's not built to code, I know in California they're so strict and they have their own crazy building codes. So their
I would never
Chinese ones
invest in
didn't
Well,
work.
was
California.
yeah, something like that though. You put on open land and do septic systems and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and wells for water or
Oh,
something like that.
that's what I would do.
ah,
That's what I
So
would do.
that's
oh.
yeah, that's what you do. So just think, just like some of us come together and everything like this and pool our money together.
It's called
Man,
group economics. Are we gonna do
yeah,
it?
group
Yeah,
economics.
put me on the
Exactly.
list.
It's called the Susu.
Yeah.
It's called the Susu. The village. It's called the
And
Susu.
Oh, the susu, susu.
yeah, so
Put me on it.
Yeah.
Put me on it.
we grow our trust at the same time.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, we can do it under a trust. That would be powerful.
Man.
Let's let's
Put
do
me in it. Let's just do
So
it.
yeah. I know,
I just
right?
kind of want to put that out there in the ecosystem a little bit,
No, it's
So
for sure. It's for sure. And listen, that's the only thing that makes sense, Tony. It's for
right.
sure. Yes,
Okay.
yes, it makes sense.
So
Yeah.
so Evie, you're on here. Can you get the names of the people who are interested? How do you want that?
Oh, Ivy.
Ivy, sorry. Ivy, sorry.
Uh-huh. You said Ivy.
Oh,
Look, she gave you a heart.
oh. My sister
Ivy
is
is the best.
Yvonne, and we call her Evie like that. That's why. Anyway,
Oh, really? Oh, Yvonne.
yeah,
Wait, Yvonne is with a Y, right? Is it YV?
it's YV, yes,
Yeah,
and I call her
YV.
Evie.
Oh, that's nice.
So I got a question. So will we all
Yeah.
just pool in? Will we all pool in and just buy a real big plot of land like in China? You say that what
Yeah,
we would
and
have to
then
start at?
yeah, and
No,
then we can
no.
build
Here
a community.
you can actually buy it, buy the land here and then, have the capsules and everything like this or homes and everything like that sent here.
Wait, where are you?
Yeah.
I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
right
Yeah, do it
and
there. It's fine.
Yeah,
and I
right.
got a
Andy said, do
I
it
got a
there. We're
mentor.
doing it in Texas.
I got a mentorship that I'm going to right now, learning how to build houses. But
Oh my God, you got to teach us everything that you know.
watch out now.
Mhm.
But yeah, but the only thing is, I just see that, modular houses and those
Yeah.
capsules and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
they're a lot cheaper, and then everything comes with them and everything.
The
Extremely.
container homes
Yeah.
too.
They kind of look like trailer park homes already.
I like the
Yeah.
container homes. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they be some dope ones. Like you say, China got the fold up ones for like $10,000 a whole mansion. I said,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I seen
They the,
The
luxury
whole
ones and they're
mansion.
you
gorgeous.
know they do you know they black market ready? They've been doing that for years though. Anything that you
Yeah.
see, it can be duplicated by China. I'm telling you.
Everything that
Absolutely.
we have, everything that we
Everything
have come from China anyway. You
for
know,
sure.
It's
they
true.
just shoot it to Italy and France and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they put their own brand on it, but
They say one
everything gets
stick from
made in
Italy they
China.
can charge $2,000.
Well,
That is so true.
$18,000 for those Birkin bags.
I was about to say, y'all see what they did with the luxury bag.
Yeah. So once Donald Trump started putting those tariffs on them and everything, they got to telling their business.
Oh, that makes
Can I
sense.
have some green tea, please? Yeah. Oh, you said what kind? Decaf?
Okay, so
All right,
um,
thank you, Christina. I'm up next.
oh,
But
okay.
we all need to do some business together though, for
Yes,
real.
we do. Yes, we do. That's why inside of the Telegram chat, we have one of them that says like investments and stuff like that, so that we're able to, invest together. It makes sense because we're trying to build wealth for our trust. And so we
Right.
are able to come up with these investments collectively.
And
Yes.
everybody's pretty wise and everything. So, we can kind of collaborate if we don't know something, we can lean on each other.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I am excited. All right, guys. So we are going to adjourn. It is 3:15, but we definitely need to do a block party. So we're gonna do these block parties more often because
Not a
this is
block party.
it is a block party. You don't think it's a virtual block
That's what you
party?
call it.
What do you want to call
Virtual.
it?
Okay, that's cool. I ain't never heard that one. You gotta
Right.
Block
explain that
party's
one,
great.
Empress. You gotta explain that one. The virtual block party.
Virtual block party, yeah. Yeah, we don't have to come up with an agenda. Every time that we come on Zoom together collectively as a community, there's an agenda, right? We got to do a Q&A, we got to do a masterclass, we got to do a workshop. Why don't we just come on collectively and just talk? I didn't know that Tony was in Fort Worth.
Call it a master block party.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm going to have the team pencil that in. They're like, pencil in a block party for us.
But I do have one question before you go though.
Oh,
So
Rhonda says she's bringing the wine.
no, virtual wine.
Yes, virtual wine. I like it.
My cup runneth over.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so what was your question, Eric?
So right when we was talking about the different would it be best to go hire like professionals for those spaces? Because you're saying you want them, they should be fluent in whatever position it is. So would it be better rule of thumb to like go and hire professional people to do it, or would you say we do it ourselves and learn those duties?
Yeah, so initially, because you don't have a board, you'll be doing all of those tasks. You're responsible for all of those tasks, but you can then train someone, right? You can train someone to be a part of it. Like my board members, some of them, they're not professionals. They are individuals that I have trained to do it a certain kind of way. So that's one option. The other option is to hire professionals, which is important. So it just depends on you, right? That's why you want to just make sure that the person that you are appointing is qualified.
Sure. Because that's been an issue too, though. Because I told you, a lot of people don't be on this information, and they want to do it, but then they not really getting into it. So it's kind of hard in some of these circles.
I know. That's one of that is something that a lot of people have faced. That's a little bit challenging. It's like, who's going to
We do
help?
need the block party so we can kind of get to know each other better. Because it's kind of hard to choose people off the list and you don't even know them at all.
You don't know them.
I might as well grab somebody random off the street. But just because they already vetted and they in the program with us, this trustee program. So I guess, if they cut up, we can come to you, Mama Empress, and you can get them.
It's true. It's true. He's like just random people off the street. I know, like it's true. So no, we don't want that. So yes, we're gonna do block parties so that we can get to know each other. That would be the best thing for us.
Yeah, and then like you did, like you always have different events that you go to, but have you thrown your own event?
No.
Like a meet and greet, like it's like a trustee event, like you go rent out
No.
or something, you know what I'm saying, and invite us all out
I
like
have
you did Ghana.
not.
Some of us couldn't go to Ghana. I was upset I couldn't go to Ghana. So
You
I'm gonna be
wanted to
ready
go
for
to
this
Ghana?
trip though. I wanna be ready.
Yes.
I wanted to go so bad. Oh my God, I wanted to go.
Yeah,
Oh my God. But it's
I'm gonna
okay.
see if we can go back, but I have never thrown a live event before, right? That's not in my
I
wheelhouse,
think you
but I
should.
can hire the professionals to put the event together. So it is gonna be something that I'm gonna have my team work on.
Empress do what she wanna do. I'm out. Come on now.
Listen, I'm a virtual person, okay? But
That is not true. You
don't
be
worry.
everywhere. You be
Right.
everywhere.
Oh, I know, right?
But it's your community. You know what I'm saying? You got to engage with us, Empress. We need you.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna put something together and yeah.
At least annually or twice a
It,
year, maybe something
it's
just for us to come
time.
together.
It's time. It's time. It's time.
It is. It's a lot. You got a lot of people. Ain't it over like 1,000 people in this group?
It's over like 2,300 people.
That's what I'm. Woo, that's gonna be a stage. I think you should though. A real block party, not no virtual one.
Yeah, I know, right?
Virtual is kind of played out. I think that's what's happening. When we be virtual, it's cool, but you need that physical interaction, like to see people. It's just different. You feel it, you get a different feeling. Listen,
Exactly.
somebody say you want to be near the fire. You have a different event. Be like, I want to be near the fire. I want to be there. It's just different.
Yes.
So
Okay,
we
so we're
wait,
gonna
we
have
waiting
something.
on that.
We're gonna have something in Atlanta, and I'm gonna start working on it. Okay.
Ashe. That's it. That's it. You the greatest, girl.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the greatest. Oh my
Thank you.
God.
Thank you. I
It's so
appreciate
motivating. You just got this motivating look. Like, don't you see me? Don't you want to be like this? So do it too.
Namir is
I'm
too much.
telling you.
Okay.
I'm just
We
telling,
we gotta go.
I be
We
telling you
gotta
the
go.
truth. But I be telling you the truth. I get anybody on here will second what I'm saying. I'm telling you, it's just the aura that you have. You know,
Thank you.
so I just thank God for you, girl. I'm telling. I know you'd be like this dude, but I feel like if I hold it in, then others are holding it in too. So I gotta start it. You know what I'm saying?
Thank
Give
you.
your
I
flowers.
appreciate it. Thank you. Right. Give me
Even
my
though you got
flowers.
them in your background, that ain't enough.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys, so we are going to adjourn. So today we had day 4 of the Wealthy Trustee Workshop. Tomorrow is day 5. So as of today, we went through a lot, right? We went through banking procedures and operations, how to have a board meeting, and how to document your funding. And then our educator came in and taught you guys about business credit and funding. So the first piece of homework is for you to go ahead and book a call with Brian and his team. It's so important for you to see where you're at currently, okay? So it's okay if you have blemishes on your credit. You want to be able to start the process so that you can get the funds you need for your trust, okay? So the second piece of homework is for you to finalize your asset inventory list, because tomorrow we're going to be going over assets, okay? So what we have planned for you tomorrow is day 5 of the Wealthy Trustee Workshop. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to apply for our EIN for our family trust. Then we're going to take an inventory of our assets, and then we're going to work on asset protection. So initially, we're going to work on transferring real estate via quitclaim deed. Then we're going to go ahead and move forward to moving vehicles into the trust with a bill of sale. And then the last component is for us to move our businesses into the trust via a business purchase agreement and articles of amendments to the articles of organization and in incorporation. So, and then the last component is our educator is going to come in, which is our CPA, Jeff Badu. He's going to come in and teach you guys about how to file taxes for the trust via a 1041 form. And then he's going to answer all of your tax questions, which I know you have a lot of tax questions. So hold them for tomorrow. So tomorrow we are going to meet at the same place in the same space, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You are going to receive an email and a text message with the Zoom link. So God bless you guys. You guys have an amazing rest of your Thursday. I love you guys so much.
Man,
And
you're the
I'll see
greatest, and
you
we love you too.
tomorrow.
You're the
Yes,
greatest, and we love you too.
you guys are the
Bye-bye.
greatest. Bye.
Come and say bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye.